What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Second Guessing with Stressan. I'm your host, Garrett Williams, aka Texans commenter. I still can't figure out the StreamYard. I always freak out when it adds myself to the stage, but sorry for the glitch there. But yeah, man, we're feeling good right now. It's playoff time. That Colts game, obviously didn't mean a lot, but it kind of did. Was still a typical stressful Texans game despite all the circumstances. And I guess you could consider it a somewhat of a risky move by D'Amico Ryans to pull his starters. But in the end, it worked out. I mean, we got the best possible scenario aside from winning the division, which was kind of a pipe dream with the Jaguars playing the Titans. Although Cam Ward came out first play, first drive, got a touchdown, and then out for the game. But pretty much, the Jags were up multiple scores at halftime. And so that actually kind of did us a little favor as well. Them getting up early allowed us to be able to scoreboard watch and make that decision. So that was what I was saying my approach would be going into the game would be to, play your starters to win and keep an eye on the Jaguars-Titans game in case that game's close and you have a chance to win the division. And as soon as you see by halftime if it's out of hand, then you pull your starters, and that's exactly what happened. So it worked out well. You came out healthy. And you still found a way to win to get the fifth seed. And then we all got to watch Sunday night, the Ravens and the Steelers, which to me, that was almost as stressful, if not more stressful than most of our own, games ourselves. And of course, I, like most others, was wanting the Steelers to win. In the end, it didn't quite matter. But just given the fact that it's Lamar Jackson with the Ravens going to Baltimore for the third year in a row, just the previous history, I still would have felt confident beating them, but the Steelers, I think, are a lesser opponent potentially, but it's going to be tough regardless. Shout out my guy Ruben 713 Houston Sportscast with the compliment. Appreciate that. Bryson Reyes says, should Riley Leonard be a worry for us in the future? I was joking that D'Amico let him show out to trick them into building the future around Riley Leonard. I said before the year that he was the best quarterback on their roster. I need to find that tweet. Obviously AR, I haven't been high on him, and then Daniel Jones, he's decent, but that being said, like I don't think that he'll be a big worry down the road. But I mean, that was a concern going in that a lot of people noted, and even D'Amico noted in some of his pressers, is that the element of the unknown. You got a rookie in his first ever start, but now, he had played one prior game against the Jaguars, but he came in the middle of the game and didn't get to prepare, didn't get the practice reps, and did bad. But now, he got to prepare. I know we got to prepare too, but we didn't really know what he would do. But, I can sit here and make excuses. Y'all can consider them excuses, but there is truth to that. I mean, just going into the game, even though we were motivated, saying all the right things, a playoff game, we're going to treat it like a must-win, division on the line. It's still like, even like this whole back stretch, like, we started 0-3 and 3-5, and pretty much every game has been a playoff game since then. But ever since the Chiefs game, it's kind of gone down. The Raiders, you hate to admit it, but that was kind of a trap lull game. Same with the Cardinals. And then you got up for the Chargers game. And then once you got that, you're like, all right, good, we're chilling. And now you're playing the Colts, of course, division rival at home. But, the fact that they pulled the starters halfway through the game, either the players knew that was the plan, he probably told them, or they probably just knew on their own. So, I mean, you don't get up quite as much for it. And even like the fans too, like, me as a fan going to all those games, like I wasn't quite as excited as I was going to the Bills game or whatever other game it was, like all those games, like it was still fun and awesome to watch them, like the Cardinals, Raiders, and the Colts down the stretch at home. But like, it's just not the same as like I went to the game in Indy. I was like jacked for that game, but so that's part of it too. I think, getting up for it. And then, Kamari Lassiter not starting, even though, Tremont Smith, I didn't really blast him that much. I was like, when I watched the two before I watched, in the Chargers game, I was like, I don't really like one when he got beat on, the other one, I was like, I don't know if it was his fault or not. And I think it was a busted coverage. I think it was Kevon Wallace. And then again in this game, like you watch in real time, I was in the stadium, so I didn't see the TV copy. But most people were convinced that Tremont Smith got burnt. But you look at it, it wasn't his fault. It was Kavon Wallace, who's only been on the team for 2, 3, 4 weeks, busted coverage. He's supposed to be the deep half safety and jumps on the out route. And then, of course, Tremont Smith is chasing him to try and make the play, so he kind of gets the blame for it. So, but Kavon Wallace got cut and just got re-signed. So Miles Bryant came in at strong safety and filled in for him. There's speculation that Jalen Reed may be back. We really need that. But regardless, even though Kavon Wallace played pretty well against the Chargers, most of that kind of seems to be down the box and aggressive and like the run fit more as opposed to, pass and understanding communication and coverage and assignment. So we can't have that. Like the only way that this defense is going to let up points is the explosives, which don't happen often, and most of the time they're from undisciplined and lack of communication. So, D'Amico doesn't play around. Like CJ Gardner-Johnson had the same thing happen earlier this year, several plays, and he got cut because of it. But D'Amico doesn't play. Like once you mess up, like, bro, like that's it. Like if you can't do like be in the right place, right time, that's it. And then, physical is a different part of it. But so that's definitely the biggest weakness now. But yeah, so as far as the Riley Leonard, I think he's good. Thought he played well. And then he kind of, after that, like we adjusted second half, even with backups, and didn't look quite as good. He's athletic. He's gritty. He's a gamer. So I think it's good for them, but I'm not like overly worried about it. So let me get to some more comments real quick. Let's see. My guy, Furburger, this dude knows ball. That's facts, Fur. Fur knows ball too. The U. He says Schultz over under 1.5 TDs. For next year. But yeah, I mean, I haven't really dove into the Pittsburgh game. We can all dive into it together, but Pittsburgh runs more man than most teams from what I've gathered. So that kind of tells me that's more of a Nico and Higgins type day. But Huncho Johnny says, why do we play down to our competition? That's a great question. I think a lot of teams do, but it feels like we historically do. But I feel like given the fact that I mentioned, like we got to this start 0-3, 3-5, and every game has been like super intense, that like finally, like once they feel like they got some cushion, like they let up. Like I know you're not supposed to, but it's hard to sustain like that level of focus and intensity for 17 games, man. It's human nature. So I know no one will admit that you didn't take someone seriously, but it's just you can't help it. Mr. Trasker says red zone conversion is trash. Steelers are tough at home, and a Monday night too. We may be cooked. That's crazy, man. Like I'm definitely, not like a cocky fan. Like I don't come up here talking crap because I hate when I'm wrong and you kind of get owned. But like all the arguments you see online that are in favor of the Steelers are from historical trends. The Texans have never won a road playoff game. Okay, we're in 2026, 2025. It's a different team than all these other teams. The Steelers have never lost a Monday night football game. Okay, like who cares? Was Aaron Rodgers there? If he was, which games were they? Who was the opponent? There's a lot that goes into it. So like all these random stats and streaks are being thrown out as like proof and evidence of why the Steelers will win. Whereas you can be like, no, you know what? Like we can actually talk ball X's and O's, but like, you know what? The Steelers' whole offense is dink and dunk and predicated off of yard after catch and missed tackles. And the Texans play a defense where they force you into that and they stop you because they're really good at tackling and have the best tackling corner in the league in Kamari Lassiter. They have Jalen Petrie, who's your nickel, who's basically a linebacker. You got Henry To'oTo'o, who can, I know he's had his troubles, but like on the short yardage, flat route screens, a pretty damn good tackler. Aziz, a good tackler. You can talk about stuff like that as the reason why for the game. Where if you were to make an argument about Aaron Rodgers or whatever, okay, but like these little just tidbits as proof as to why we're going to lose, like that's dumb. Oh, hey, Manny says last year we lost those trap games, so there's some growth. I agree, facts. And there's benefit to that. Like the Raiders game felt like a loss, and we still won. So it's like we almost got the loss out of the way in a sense, hopefully. That's a good point there. And Michael says Trey Smith or Wallace, who's better? Tremont Smith is better. He's fast. I still think he's being overhated. But Elijah Huzzy came in and played well. So he's a guy that can play nickel or corner. So, I mean, if it comes down to we need a cornerback 3, obviously Jalen Smith was a baller, the guy we drafted at USC in the 3rd round, but he's hurt. So that's a big blow there for our cornerback depth. But Elijah Huzzy was, a really highly rated prospect coming out, but he tore his ACL in the All-Star game, and his first game playing as a defender got an interception and graded really well on PFF. So that's like a huge a thing right there. But just going through, Solo Dad says, favorite page besides main Texans page. Hey, appreciate that, man. Boulevard Knight says, so many people are taking the Steelers over, bro. It's getting me mad, LOL. Yeah, we'll dive into it, but like, my surface level initial thoughts without trying to be too cocky is like, we can and should win this game. Like, if we lose this game, I don't know how, but I mean, and I get to like, you have to guard your emotions and don't want to get too cocky and don't want to get let down. So I'm not trying to act like this and that. Like, again, we'll dive into it, but like, it's a game we can and should win. Like, this is the team that we all wanted to play. Like, the Steelers, I know it's the playoffs, it's Aaron Rodgers, anything can happen, so I'm not discrediting them, but like, this is probably one of the worst teams in the playoffs, if we're being honest. But again, yes, it's any given Sunday, it all starts over, but this is the matchup we all wanted. Mario Trey says, listen, man, CJ is a clutch and he's going to clutch up. I agree. Like, I think the way we've played, especially since he's been back, is we've played with leads. And so we haven't had to see him make these game-winning drives. So as a fact of the absence of seeing the game-winning drives, just because there's no opportunity, we assume that he can't do it anymore. He did it his entire 2023 year and did it even last year. And a couple times this year led them when we just had turnovers. So one, he's had very limited opportunities this entire year to actually lead game-winning drives because he's had his team winning, because he's leaned on his defense and been responsible with the football. So hopefully we win every game and win the Super Bowl and never have to do that. But, there probably will be a moment. And I do, as much as the struggles have been there for the offense, I have faith in him to make that game-winning drive. Chris says, Texans defense is going to get a rude awakening. He says, give A-Rod a rude awakening. Yeah. Yep, I can definitely see that. So shout out to main chat. Let me put the comments on the page. We got Jan says, hopefully they score. TDs, field goals will only get you so far. Yeah, I agree. And I do think part of the red zone that we have to consider in some of these games, not all of them, but some of them, we're not going for it on 4th and short because the game flow and D'Amico's just taking the points because he knows he has a nails kicker. Kaimi Fairbairn, shout out Kaimi, tied the record for the most field goals made in a season in only 15 games. He missed 2 games. And we broke the record overall because Matthew Wright came in for 2 games and made some kicks. So, but, obviously a big part of that is red zone struggles, but part of it too is conservative mindset of not getting too aggressive on 4th downs and 3rd downs and the red zone, knowing that you can settle for 3 because 1, he'll make it, and 2, your defense, you can lean on them. So that is an element. But, this last game with Stroud in there, red zone, he had a bad play where I thought it was one of the few bad plays that he had in that first half that he played against the Colts, where he had an intentional grounding on 2nd down and it put us on 3rd and long, and that was it. And then the other drive, I forget what happened. There was a bad screen pass call that wasn't very good. And there was another play prior, or it was a penalty. Yeah, we were down inside the 10, had a nice RPO, run pass option. The run's called, but if you see your receivers open, you can pull it and throw it really quick, and throws a vertical to Jaden Higgins down the sideline. Great back shoulder fade. Gets called back because Ed Ingram's 3 to 5 yards downfield blocking. To me, that's just, how are we doing that? Like, yes, it's hard to throw a vertical RPO, but like, as soon as Stroud pulled the ball, he was already 3 yards downfield. So that's just like not being locked in. Like, as a lineman, if you know it's an RPO, you're supposed to know, okay, I can't just go straight to the second level, or I can't just maul this guy 5 yards back. I have to kind of stay at the line of scrimmage for 2 to 3 seconds and then go forward. You have to allow time for that pass to happen. So, yeah, I mean, it's the same stuff as far as the struggles in the red zone, kind of killing yourselves. Humble Hour says on Facebook, I didn't like that matchup. Are you talking about the Colts or the Steelers? Gail says that was a crazy game ending. Yeah, shout out Tommy Togiai, bro. So obviously we all know what happened, but on the goal line, I've been asking for it. I've been more so asking for Will Anderson Jr., but I'm pretty sure we have talked about even just putting Tommy Togiai on a heavy package, short yardage. Like that's one of our weakest points is our short yardage offense. It's lost us 3 to 4 to 5 games alone just from failing short yardage. And so why don't you bring in another guy to beef it up like Will or Tommy Togiai, defensive tackle? They finally put him at fullback. But evidently it was meant to go to him. But Stroud was saying that, supposedly when that big fullback's in there closer, his step's supposed to be different, and he came out too quick, so the timing was messed up, and he couldn't get the ball, so then he just kept it and ran and scored. So it worked out, but I'm encouraged by them doing that, putting Tommy Togiai at fullback. But it's also funny too, though. We also had the direct snap that wasn't a direct snap that ended up being a direct snap to Woody Marks. That was also a touchdown. So 2 of our best plays on the goal line have been accidents. And the one to Togiai, like if you wouldn't have known and it wasn't quite as obvious, like it was almost like a zone read where like Stroud was able to pull it. So it's like, hey, why don't you learn from that and be like, you know what? Like, you know why that worked is because he sold the fake so much because it was supposed to happen that everyone bit. And when he pulled it, it was wide open. So that tells me he's like, I want to see zone reads with Stroud. Now it's the playoffs. You've been saving his legs. He had a concussion. He got a concussion from running. And so now you dialed it back, but now it's the playoffs. Everything's on the line. Allow him to start running. Give him some designed read options to run a couple times a game down in the red zone or wherever it may be, short yardage. Allow him to use his legs, or tell him to start using his legs when no one's open. Get those cheap yards. So I've preached that all early this year and last year. And my analogy is Patrick Mahomes. Like, he uses his legs late in games or late in the season, and most definitely in the playoffs. Like most of their Super Bowl runs or, deep playoff runs have been largely because of Mahomes is making plays with his legs running the ball. So, this is now the time. We saw it last year in the playoffs. Stroud used his legs. He started doing it early again this year, dialed it back after the concussion, but now it's time to turn that thing back up. Again, obviously, be smart, get out of bounds. Learn how to slide. Hopefully you learn how to slide, but, that's a weapon. Like if you roll out and there's a chance for a deep shot, but it's, 2nd and 5 and you can get 5 yards running, go get the first down. So that'll be a thing to look after. But yeah, as far as the Togiai thing, the way it ended, the fumble Ruski or whatever you want to call it, pitchy woo woo, where he somehow gets the ball and scores and he barely gets in, dude. He gets in with his knee just off the ground. That was just poetic, man. I'm not going to lie. I was like leaving. I normally try to wait to the last second, but I was kind of walking back to get to the car and I saw it in the concourse of the suite. But yeah, it was sick. Jan says those flags also got to be a bare minimum. They've been getting better throughout the season. Yep, that's true. Humble R says, okay. Yes. Gail says, yep, I'm tripping, man. It's been a while since I've been on here. A little rusty. Curly Jr. Washington on YouTube. Is Trent Brown playing, whereas Titus playing right tackle? I prefer him versus Watt. I'm not sure, but my guess would be he's playing, but I really haven't heard much. I'm sure we'll learn some throughout the week. J-Rock says it's going to take one OME Tim. Not sure what that means. JJ Sugar, D'Amico doesn't care about stats, but bruh, we just needed one more game to secure the top defense statistically. Yeah, that bummed me out because I've been happy about, the points allowed, which, part of that list too, it's total points. It includes special teams points, which I think we've allowed 3 touchdowns from special teams. So that's 21 points already there. I don't know what the Seahawks have done, but I imagine they're one of the best special teams units in the league that they haven't allowed any returns. But yeah, you got Kevon Wallace allowing multiple touchdowns. And then even then, like going into the second half, we still had a chance to hold it down. But is what it is, we can't quite puff our chest about us being I think obviously it's not really debatable that we're the best defense, but the historically great. But what really certifies and stamps these historically great defenses is a playoff run. If we go and win a Super Bowl, then we know what it is. And like we see it, like, we've had guys like Jacoby Brissett, Geno Smith, Riley Leonard, seem to be pretty good against us. Again, that's probably the element of backing off the gas. But then you get up for big games like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, make those guys have horrible games. Even Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, you lost those games, but you made those guys look terrible in those games too. So, well, not terrible. Stafford looked good, but he only, he didn't score a lot of points. So JJ says we better go to the bowl. Yeah, if you want to prove that defense is legit, that's how you got to do it. Bobby Thornton says O-line has me sketched out. Everything else is pretty solid. Yeah, so I mean, O-line, everything I argued before the season, agreeing with their logic or like seeing their logic, has kind of played out. Like they bet on coaching and scheme and not personnel. They, I would say minorly upgraded the personnel, but the biggest thing has been coaching and scheme. Coach Cole Popovich and Nick Caley. The blitz pickup is much better than what has been. It's still not perfect, but a lot less free runners. And the biggest thing is, you've been seeing it since day one, is the emphasis on getting the ball out quick. So, yeah, you can get beat. Their stats about pass block win rate, we're like one of the worst. But guess what? If we throw the ball after you get beat with the block, it doesn't matter. It's negated. So that's what you see with Stroud and Mills. Both of them just throwing the ball quick, man, and throwing the ball away. Stroud coming back from concussion, having watched Mills, he's learned, hey, great defense, just dirt the ball. It can be frustrating and kind of stall the offense. But like when you look back, you're like, oh, we've had 3 straight games with 0 sacks. 3 straight games with 0 sacks with an average to below average physically passing blocking unit. So we're masking that. And so maybe in the offseason, we can figure out ways to, beef up the personnel in the interior. But until then, you have to, like, Nick Caley's done a hell of a job in that regard. Like, he's not getting nearly enough praise for that. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically what Rodgers does on the flip side. They get the ball out quick. And I would continue to see us doing that. Really the run game is what we're going to have to lean on, and it has been improving. So that'll be a big thing for us. And we're starting to mix up outside run, inside run. More normally all year we're inside zone and duo. And then we started running more wide zone, and now we're seeing more like power and counters with guys pulling. So we're mixing it up. We got a myriad of run concepts. So, and then J-Rock, will we run a red zone play correctly at the goal line? I don't know. It's almost better if we don't. JJ says the stat that for the Steelers are on a massive streak on Monday Night Football doesn't have any playoff games, but they do have a streak for the playoffs going straight L's. And this season too, like it's been the season where a lot of trends get broken. Like for teams, like we've had streaks going in against teams and it's gotten broken, and vice versa. Like the Bucks, we had a record and a streak against them, and then the Jags, the first game, so many road division playoff wins that got broken, and then vice versa. We play a team that's won so many or this or that. Like it kind of seems to be the trend. So trends are getting broken. Brian says, what happened to CJ's passion, bro? His body language is so weak these days. Go watch his rookie year vibes. I don't get this. Like, I understand that people see this and get frustrated, but I just think it's who he is. Like, I don't get it. Like, I think it's just how he is. Like, he's just a whatever kind of guy. Like, even when he's hype, he's still not super, super hype. He's not like a Baker Mayfield. And, to me, like, I understand the argument about I want a fiery quarterback and I want him to yell at guys, but like, we can't ask him to be somebody who's not. Like, I don't think that he's changed. I think that in our mind it's changed because he was a rookie and it was new. Yeah, you celebrate a touchdown. I mean, he's still celebrating big plays the same way. And then if anything, part of it is, yeah, maybe because he's not making the big plays. Or maybe he's mature and he's not as emotional. I mean, to me, like, I understand, but I understand how people see that, but I don't see it that way. And I don't think that Mr. Sleeby, also more British Brooks. Yeah, man, he balled out. He had a great game. So that's interesting. Shout out HD AV Traveler, Evening Stressans and Friends. What's going on, bro? Ayush, kind of poor. If the Texans lose the first round, they got to get rid of Caley. One, I hope we don't lose, but two, I don't think you fire Caley for that. No, I think this offense, even though people think it's terrible, is really making strides personally. And the thing about this offense is it's a game plan offense, so it changes week to week, and they do what they need to do to win the game. So, we're really, I've seen some stuff where he, like even the Chargers game, like coming out and, dialing up those deep shots early in the game. That's a game plan offense for that opposing defense for that week. And then after that, you kind of dial it back in a sense because you're playing with the lead. So you're game planning for that game. But, as far as the playoffs goes, like even Mike Tomlin will play his press conference here, but he talked about how he credited the offense, all the personnel, and he said, in their play calling too, they're very good at exploiting your tendencies. So that's the game plan offense that he's talking about. So in that regard, I'm excited to see what Caleb will do in the playoffs. Like, one, how will he specifically attack this team now that's the playoffs? Is there's more on the line? Do you have more trick plays? He's shown creativity. He's slowly unrolled things throughout the year. What else is he, holding on to? Like the Stover cat, we didn't see till later. Heavy package we put on later, and it started taking off. We just threw Tommy Togiai in at fullback. Like, we've seen direct snaps to different guys. Like, he's shown the ability to do some shit. So that's got me excited. So I agree. Hennessy Black, he likes what he saw from British Brooks. Actually, if the Texans lose their first 2 rounds, they got to get rid of Kaylee. That's crazy, bro. I'd hard disagree. I know most people hate Kaylee, but he's still having his growing pains, but I'm still high on him. I'm still encouraged. J-Rock, any word on Jordan? You're talking about Jawar? I'm not sure. I haven't heard much. Product of the H, 2 pump for Monday night. Facts. It sucks we're playing on Monday night, bro. It's going to be such a long – at least, though, I just realized – I was like, man, there's no Thursday night football, but the playoffs are tomorrow, the U in Miami. And then Friday we got playoffs, and then we got Saturday, Sunday. So, and me and Product of the H and other guys will be posting content all the way up to that point. So, but Monday day is going to be so long. Brandon says if the only backup DBs realize that all Alec Pierce runs is go routes, facts. And that ejection for him was kind of weak. I mean, I'll admit it wasn't kind of weak; it was weak. But rules are rules, I guess. I mean, whatever. And the Colts, man, Colts fans. I try to tell y'all, dude, like, your owner meddled and forced your GM to trade for Sauce, give up 2 firsts and AD Mitchell for Sauce, who gets hurt and doesn't even barely even play, to go all in on a Daniel Jones-led Super Bowl run, which he got hurt, yes, but that team was already going downhill because if you looked at the first part of the schedule, it was easy as hell. They played no good run defenses, and then you start playing good run defenses. So you play no good run defenses. You get 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 yards a pop. Every down is 2nd and short, 3rd and short. Now the whole playbook's open. Now you start getting teams that stop it. Now it's 3rd and long, and Daniel Jones doesn't do as good. And so, yeah, I'm not surprised by how their season panned out, honestly. Let's see here. Let me get to IG. Someone says they prefer Mills. That's crazy. Oh, hey, Manny says the CJ slander is crazy too. I agree. Chris says Mills didn't do much in the second half of that game. Yeah, and then Mills came in and didn't really do well and then did enough late. Shout out Mills. And it's like, it's so weird, like, because there's like always these arguments, like you feel like you have to be like, do you love CJ or hate him? Do you love Mills or hate him? It's like, how about I think CJ is a great quarterback and a great young quarterback and the franchise guy. And I also think Mills is a damn good backup. Like, you can think both. And I feel like that game encapsulated. Like, I thought CJ was playing really well. He really had that intentional grounding early. That was really it from what I saw. Playing really well. And then Mills comes in and not really well. And then late in the game does enough to win the game. I'm like, all right, perfect. Boom. So I feel like that's what you can say that, let's see what else. Hard count. What are we talking about? Let's see on IG. Let's see, Bass Pro Junkie. What about Roger doing hard count on our D line? Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. That's a good concern. Will Anderson Jr. is definitely a giddy guy, so they will be at home too. So it'll be quiet. That's a great point. We should definitely be disciplined. But yeah, I think the D line will eat, like Mariotre says. Lou VO 1K. We should dominate this game. I agree. Bass Pro says I might be saying the wrong term for that, but basically, yeah, you're right, dude. Chris says even if we don't make it past the Broncos, we still have Tank Dell to come back next year. Yes, sir. MSV Vhap says H-Town all day. Yes, sir. Shout out Mondo 713. H down. Someone says Texans swarm. And then James Hughes says, really love how Woody is playing. Really want him as our permanent RB. Yes, dude. Woody, since he got that week off, the last 2 weeks, like, he's doing what I've been wanting him to do all year. Like, he looks fresh and rejuvenated, but he's bouncing stuff outside. Maybe it was good for him to take a week out and see that Jawar was doing that, much like Stroud took a week back and saw Mills doing certain things. Maybe that's part of it. But I think a big part of it too is just him being fresh. Like, he's looking good, dude. And I think, Nick Chubb's got some rest. Like, Nick Chubb hasn't been as bad as most people think, in my opinion. So I think Nick Chubb could be an unsung hero for us if we make a deep playoff run. Veteran, reliable running back. I think he can make some big runs for us, get some tough yardage, physical runner, great compliment. If Jawar's back too, he's a slasher. If not, now Brooks is showing that we don't have a superstar running back, but we have a stable of some pretty good backs with varying skill sets. And I had a thought on that too. So I was talking about Nick Chubb, Woody. It'll come to me. There was another thought on that too, but hopefully Chubb is fresh. And let's see here. And then Mondo says big mistakes. Let me make sure I get to all the comments here. Appreciate y'all tuning in on IG, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Of course, as always, Texans commenter on all those platforms, or at Houston Stressan's website, houstonstressans.com. I'm wearing my H-Town versus everybody Aziz punching Roshan Johnson shirt. I'm trying to get my flag sold on there. They're not really producing yet. But shout out Nick Schwager, the GOAT. I saw he tapped in. Chris says, you think CJ might choke against the Broncos since he got the concussion against them? No, I don't think that's a factor. Shout out my guy, Champagne Shep. Let's go, baby, on IG. Who else we got? Kind of give it caught back up. Shout out Primo Looks. There's something in the air with the playoffs around the corner. Man, I'm pumped, dude. I don't know. I can't help but feel like it just feels like a special year, man. Like, I don't know how y'all are, but like watching a game or this or that, like I'll just get these goosebumps every now and then. Like, man, like what if this is the year? Like, that's what's like, if you could, I wish you could know things in advance sometimes. I guess you do and you don't, but like, if we were to know that this would be like a special year, you could like really savor some moments. Whereas if you don't, the highs and the lows, you're kind of so emotional, like, oh, we suck. But so I kind of do that myself, I guess. Like, I tell myself that, so like that way I can look back when I do look back and be like, I enjoyed the whole run. I don't want to be like us make a run and me look back and be like, oh man, I was freaking stressing the whole time or tripping. Like, I want to enjoy this, bro. But I can't help us. But every now and then I was like, man, like, dude, this, I don't know, man. Like, listening to these players talk, D'Amico, CJ, like, it's a special team, dude. Will, like, all those guys, man. Aziz, like, dude, all of them. Yeah, and so Shep says he likes that we play on Monday. I don't know how y'all think about it. I'm kind of ambivalent. Extra day rest for us, extra day rest for them. TJ Watt, first game back off a punctured lung, said he's feeling better. DK Metcalf's back, but he, gets a week of practice. He didn't get to practice for 2 weeks and play in 2 games because that suspension for punching the fan, which I thought was BS, almost cost them the division. But nonetheless, Rodgers had a hurt hand and hit it again. So that's a factor too. They're playing in the cold again. But, we got the rest for our guys. Hopefully we win, take care of business. Now on the flip side, you have 1 day extra rest compared to your opponent who will play on Sunday. So that's kind of tough. Also, will be Monday night. We'll know the whole thing. And, if we win, then we'll know the next outcome. So that'll be fun too. RIP Devontae says, I got faith in my team. Gonna silence the haters on Monday. I agree. I can't wait, man. William Stone, is this our best chance? This is our best chance. So that's a great point. So you look at it now, the last time our best chance was 2012, right? When we went into, even though Schaub got hurt, if he wouldn't have got hurt, it would have really been our best chance. But even then, with TJ Yates, we went into Baltimore divisional round with a dominant defense and almost won, if it wasn't for RIP, a Jacoby Jones muff punt, to win with TJ Yates. And they could have made a run that year. These last 2 years, obviously last year was a pretty good chance, but this is the first year that CJ Stroud has healthy receivers going into the playoffs. We have Nico, Higgins, Kirk, Noel, etc. Like, everybody's healthy. Like, he has a full stable of receivers, whereas in years past, he's had Nico and whoever else. Hutch is healthy too, and obviously a year better than what he was last year. So, I mean, That's a good point. Like, this is our best chance. This is our best defense in franchise history. So we'll just see how it plays out. But Champagne Chip says, "No lie, G, I'm looking for a blowout this game." I mean, I try to be humble, but like I could definitely see that being an outcome. Um, and then Trey Cook says, "How far you think we can go?" I think we can win it all, bro. Like, to me, before the season, my minimum was AFC Championship. That's still the same, and it's still highly attainable. Like, even if we make it to the AFC Championship and lose, yes, I'll be pissed, but I'll still be happy. And D'Amico's aware of this, so like, I don't see us not making the AFC Championship. Obviously, one game at a time. Beat the Steelers. As far as the Jaguars playing the Bills, that's a toss-up. Like, I could see the Bills winning or the Jags, but if the Bills win, they're the 6th seed, and now that kind of reseeds things. So, and then the Patriots, they have a tough matchup too. So, like, the 1 and 2 seeds are young, unproven teams as far as year to year. And so there could be upsets to where now we can have a home playoff game next round, and or potentially if we win in the AFC Championship game. So, I mean, things is kind of shaping up for us. But yeah, so Ricardo says, "I have that shirt too. Let's go, baby." And then it does feel special this year. Chill with Cut says, "Keep telling people we need to keep Lassiter on DK more than Sting." Yeah, so I mean, you have that old Belichick thing where basically you put your number 2 on their number 1. But I'm fine with either. And they like to run a lot of trips and put the single receiver backside, and they can kind of tell them whatever route to run. But DK is a great player, but I like our chances against him. Sal says historic defense can take us to the bowl. I agree. Someone asked for prediction. I don't like doing predictions. Texans fan says, "Who do you think is making a big play on defense?" Tommy Togiai, man. I think we'll see a lot of big plays. Petrie hasn't had a big play in a while. So what else we got? Am I going to the watch party? I may go to the game. That's up in the air. So hopefully I'm in Pittsburgh. And then let's see. Let me get caught back up over here. Product of the H says, "I think we needed these bad performances to bring them back to earth in time for the playoffs." Yeah, I agree. HD Traveler 2000 Ravens is the example. Hopefully CJ is better than Trent Dilfer. Facts. I think he is. Charlie Silverback. Melkor says, "Do you believe CJ Stroud will get over 300 yards against the Steelers?" I don't know. We'll dive in here in a second into the advanced stats, and I haven't really dove into a lot of stuff and see if I'll kind of get an idea of what's going on. Cecil Thompson say, "Without Fairbairn in the defense, we would have lost a lot of these games." Glad you brought that up. So that is true, but Fairbairn is so good and so productive because we know he's so good and so productive, and because we know our defense is. I think we still could have won games with the offense if need be, if that situation arose, but we haven't really had that situation. Every game's been close, and with us leading, like, we're like one of the top 3-4 teams. I think we're number 2 in the league as far as minutes played with a lead. Like, so every game we're protecting a lead. Like, that's part of it. Whereas you have shit teams. If you go look at the passing yards, like, all the passing leaders are all these shit teams because the guys are just throwing. Like, yeah, of course you got stats because you're losing. We're winning and playing boring football, bleeding the clock out. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's not a full blanket excuse for offensive struggles, but as soon as you can realize what's going on and how D'Amico wants to win, he's like that one friend in Madden where your one friend in Madden who's really good is the one who plays like D'Amico, where they play it like real life football and they'll run a 6-minute drive on the last drive and not give you a chance to come back. Whereas most people are like, "I want to just throw bombs. I just want to do this." And you get picks or you score too soon. Like, D'Amico plays like that one friend in Madden who just super disciplined, doesn't get risky, sticks to his bread and butter, the plays he knows, goes to him when he needs them, doesn't take a lot of chances. And it's like annoying as hell because you're like, "Bro, we're playing a video game. Like, throw the ball, And they just, the friend that runs the ball in Madden in the fourth quarter pisses you off. But like, that's how we play. So the sooner we realize that, the better. But I want to say this too. So Kaimi Fairbairn and Tommy Townsend, dude, I think they both could be all pros. Maybe not Tommy, but Kaimi could be all pro, should be all pro, best kicker in the league, historically great season. But the fact that we have 2 elite kickers, like this is being underrated. The way D'Amico Ryans has built this team is fucking brilliant, dude. Like, again, we're so stuck in this fantasy football shit world of points, yards, touchdowns. Like, no, like defense, dude. Like, D'Amico has built this team with a dominant defense and an offense to complement that defense. We all got frustrated and pissed off at Slowick because the conservative play calling. And now we're all getting pissed off at Kaylee for the conservative offense and play calling. Guess what? It's fucking D'Amico, bro. Like, this is how he wants to do it. And the offense, even though they don't always get touchdowns or points, like they have drives where they march the ball on the field, hold on to the ball, don't turn it over. We're one of the best teams in the league. I think the fewest turnovers on offense. So that was what I was going to say about Woody and Nick Chubb earlier is they don't fucking fumble the ball, knock on wood. They don't fumble the ball. That is massive. Interceptions down low, like one of the lowest in the league. We possess the ball, take care of it, and even if we don't score, we drive down, get a field goal, chew off 6, 7, 8 minutes. Or even though we don't, we still get 1 or 2 first downs, and Tommy Townsend comes in and fucking pins you inside the 10 with that fucking defense, bro. That is called complementary football. Like, the way D'Amico has built this team, the way he sees the game is so old school. The game has changed so much recently that people think it's dumb and it's scared and whatever. Like, no, it's fucking brilliant. Like, D'Amico knows what the hell he's doing, dude. He has built a team that is sustainable for years to come. Like, as long as D'Amico's here and CJ are here, I say this every week, we have a chance to be a legit team. Like, we'll have a shot every year. And it's not going to be, I know we want blowouts every week, but like, you just got, and I know it's tough in the moment, and I'm guilty too. I'm like, man, I get mad, but like, and it's probably annoying. I keep saying this, like, dude, shut up. Like, I want to bitch about stuff that sucks. Like, yeah, it does. But I think that is a big part of it. So, little rant there. Brandon says, do you think they have had a successful hard reset in the O-line room environment, and now they can actually add a long-term pieces in? 100%, man. 100%. I don't know that the mentality was definitely something, but I don't think it was as bad as we think with the Laramie thing. I think it's just really scheme. But yeah, I think the mentality has increased though. Noel says, go Texans, they got this. Gain of funding research. CJ Stroud makes or breaks this team. Do you think he can keep it cool and composed till the end? Yeah, dude. Like, the game plan is like, just go out there and play within the offense and the scheme, conservative until we need you not to. That's what he's been doing. So like, do the ho-hum stuff, let the defense eat. Like I just mentioned, the whole field position shit. They'll get you the ball back, and you'll kick field goals, and you'll get put in good field position. Just don't lose the game on offense. I know we all want a quarterback to be the one winning for us, even though he can win, but the way this team is made, and so that's what's going to happen. Like, we'll eventually sign him to a mega contract. This is what happens to every young quarterback. You have the chance now to lean in your defense because all your money's over there because he's on a cheap contract. But then when he signs this mega contract, now you're going to have a lesser defense, and we're going to need him to do more. Now is not that time. And he's still young and developing and learning. So that's the way we do it, dude. Like, he can win the game if we need him to, but the way he needs to approach it is safe, conservative, play within the system, and we'll probably be in the lead with that, and we'll just slowly, boringly win the game. And then otherwise, if it gets scary, then go make a play. And he kind of did that in KC. Like, we did that, and it was just neck and neck. And then he started making some plays with his feet. Product of the H, I want to see the CJ doubters say when CJ gets to that ring. Yeah, and like, and the way the team is constructed, this whole philosophy and thing I just said, like, I can see where, we go on a run, but he doesn't light up the stat sheet. And it's like, yeah, but he sucks. It's like, bro, like, kind of how Jalen Hurts gets hated on too. Like, I mean, yes, part of Hurts is he's not the best quarterback, but I feel like the Eagles are kind of similar to us right now. Like, everyone's shitting on their offense, but like, they have an elite defense too, and they lean on their defense, and they're winning. I think the Eagles can make a run just because like they know how to win games. They play to win games. HD Traveler playoffs. Williams says, been a fan since day one as a kid. I'm 30 now. This is our best chance. Is this our best chance? Yes, 1,000%. Man, I'll say a score prediction, but I don't like doing them. But I could see the Texans winning 24-10. Cold weather, both good defenses. HG Traveler, Danny Dimes turning to Danny Pennies. Facts. Is Kamari healthy? I mean, I believe he is. Like, he's going to play no matter what, but he got a week off. So let's see. JJ Sugar, this is absolutely one of those years that it feels like it's the right time. All of our losses are to Brady, Mahomes, or Lamar. None of them are there. So we have prime opportunity with the top defense. I agree. Justin Words, penalties. Hope the offense controls those. Seems to cost us at least 3 points. I agree. And a lot of them are mental, like the illegal man downfield. Lock the fuck in, dude. No illegal man downfield. No illegal shift. No fucking false start. Like, none of that shit, dude. But hey, loud road environment. So, but yes, this year does feel different. Is Ramsey healthy? I believe so, but I mean, he's kind of like a safety now. I'm not really too scared of him. HC Traveler, Kirk is still on the team. LOL. Scott Green, I really want to be playing the Jags for the AFC Championship when it goes Super Bowl. I mean, I haven't dove into their matchup, but I think the Bills beat them, dude. I'm still not. I think the Jags, like, I'm surprised. They're a really good team, but I still feel like they're being slightly overhyped. Yes, you're taking care of teams. I sound like a hypocrite. We beat a bad team, and I get mad when people discredit us, but I think their schedule hasn't been as hard as we think lately. I think that Broncos game was a good win, but I think we're overweighting it slightly. I think the Broncos aren't as good as we think either. And that's part of the mix. They go in there and we think this defense is elite and Trevor Lawrence does this and that. It's like, well, maybe that defense isn't. Maybe Marcus Mariota carving up that defense is part of the deal too. JJ Sugar, crazy to think Tank hasn't been able to play a playoff game. Hopefully we can get in there next year healthy. That is crazy. I didn't think about that. Shout out Balls Deep Football, my guy. Rich Boy J, imagine the Bills and Chargers win and we go into Monday night playing home divisional round game. It could happen, dude. But yeah, so like my initial prediction without diving in is Bills beat Jags, Patriots beat Chargers, and then we go into Foxborough. And that is an exercise your demons game right there, the Letterman jacket game. And then we could win that game. If you win that game, then you play the winner of the Broncos and Bills, Texans, AFC Championship at home. That's a possibility. JJ Sugar, we lucked out with the Tommy T being a complete dog after losing Settle, Edwards Jr. I thought our D-line. And so our depth has lacked, but Tommy Togiai wouldn't be playing as much. He was a rotational piece who became the starter potentially, and it was still even like not a half starter, but like, and now that it's playoffs, they like to rotate guys to keep them fresh, but they may rotate a little bit less because it's the playoffs. And Tommy Togiai is a fucking Pro Bowler, dude. Like, he is a superstar. Dude is a dog, bro. Like, he's up there not only just, holding his own and taking on double teams, but shedding double teams and making tackles. Great pass rusher, like very instinctual, blowing up screens and draws and all these, cerebral plays. That dude is a star. So, like, maybe a slight blessing in disguise in the sense that it's allowed us to play him more. Naquan Jones, I haven't really dove into his performance in this last game, but played better in the Chargers game. Lecky Fotu seems like he didn't play too well, but those guys aren't getting a ton of reps. JJ says, I know we still have an Autry in rankings, but we need that strong rotation on the D-line. Tommy T keeps it going strong. I agree. And let's see. I'm going to try to get caught back up. I'm sorry. Missing a lot of the comments. Let's see. Cecil, we got some good offensive players. Yep. And this is a big point here, too, by SP. I really hope Jalen, I think it means Jaden Reed comes back here from Twitter. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, so let me get to Derek Stingley Lover on IG says, how far we go is going to come down to our offense. One bad or inconsistent game, it's all over. Yeah, I mean, I think we could still even win with a bad and inconsistent offensive game, and we have all year, honestly. So real quick, we'll put a bow on this Colts game, which was, again, meaningless but not meaningless, and then we'll dive into the matchup. Let's see, NFL scores. We'll go to Week 18. So this is the part I wish I could just read comments the whole time. It's my favorite part. I start to dissipate, so I'm sorry. If you got like a in question, you really want to get out there, just spam me. I'll get to it eventually. Best way for my IG fam, it doesn't show up on the main thing. So if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or X, you'll pop up on there. But yeah, Leonard was, let me share this tab. Let's see. Share screen right there. Leonard was 21 of 34 for 270, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1 sack, and a 94 rating. That fake punt they ran was sick. That was a dime by Rigoberto Sanchez to Mo Cox, and then they tempoed into a sneak, catching us off guard and getting a 12-man on field penalty, which was pretty cool. Stroud was 14 of 23, 169, 1 touchdown with a 97 rating. Higgins had a couple drops. I'm watching the All-22. Stroud was doing he does like these no-look passes where he looks in the middle of the field and stays looking in the middle of the field, but he's like watching to the corner of his eye. He's watching a guy across the field, and he throws it like this and then leads the receiver perfectly. Like one was to Schultz, one was to Higgins that he dropped. I mean, he was dialed, dude. I mean, he had one bad play, I thought. And like you said, he was just heating up. Mills was 3 of 9. So there's still people out there clamoring for Davis Mills to be starting over Stroud and say, oh, yeah, Mills iced the game. He was 3 of 9. Again, I think Mills is a great backup. So now I'm having to hate on him to suppress these people who's making it more than what it is. He's a great backup. Came in, got some good reps, wasn't really great late. Yes, there were some drops for him too. Yes, he made the important drive, but let's not make it more than what it is or worse than what it is. But yeah, British Brooks, 13 carries for 63 yards, 4.8 yards per carry. Woody Marks, 10 for 48, 4.8. And then let's see what else we got. We kind of held Jonathan Taylor in check, 14 for 26 with, backups in the game. Come on, bro. Alec Pierce, obviously 4 for 132 and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Warren, 5 for 26, held in check relatively. Xavier Hutchinson, 5 for 84, leading receiver. Higgins caught that touchdown in the red zone. And yeah, so I guess team stats we can look at. We were 4 of 13 on third down. They were 8 of 15. Total yards, they were 354. We were 339. Let's see. Passing, they had 278. We had 205. Rushing, 76 for them, 134 for us. Both had 7 penalties. They had 3 turnovers. I just realized that. We had another game. I guess that last one at the end, but we had another game with 3 turnovers and none. That turnover margin is insane. Possession, 31 to 28. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much good on that. Now we can kind of transition into so I'll do like we always do. We'll go to the Pittsburgh game, and then I'll go back to my timeline and play any interview clips. And then on YouTube, Houston Lover, do you think that Noel should get more snaps? I do, and I definitely thought he should have in that game because I thought that was a game like we rested Nico Collins. So a byproduct of resting Nico Collins was obviously him getting rest. But number 2 is now Jaden Higgins got more run and ran, 80% of the snaps and was able to work on his chemistry with Stroud, which they connected on a ball that got called back for the ineligible man downfield. And he dropped a couple, but that helped him build that trust with them. Had a nice slant he threw to him as well on a third down. So I thought that was another moment, just like the Broncos and Niners game before Stroud got hurt. And then the Niners game, obviously, he played where, Nico was out and he was forced to go to Noel and other guys and made that connection. But, didn't happen. Okay. I'm not sure why. He still got out snapped by Kirk. Maybe Kirk needed to get his chemistry going. He still got to get going. But I don't know if they'll change that in the playoffs. I doubt it. I do think that blocking is a big part of it, and we fail to understand that, even though maybe we do, but we just don't want to point it out. But they ask these receivers to block a lot in this offense, and that's an area where he's lacking. I think we need to run more of these reverses. Xavier Hutchinson, Nico Collins, Jalen Noel, when he's in there in reverses, I feel like he can do better. But that's something we need to continue to do in the playoffs. Yeah, the people clamoring for Mills are unserious as Hennessy Black. I agree. My guy, Larry Payton, he's swarming, he says. But yeah, so let's just go to, this is kind of how I first analyze a team. I'll go to their schedule and see how badly I can beat them down. So Steelers 10-7. That game against the Ravens, I don't think were very good this year, with or without Lamar. Like, they made a bunch of excuses. Oh, we're hurt. Didn't have this guy. Didn't have that guy. Lamar came back. They still sucked. Defense pretty much sucked all year. The defense was terrible in this game. Yes, Rodgers played well, but let's just click on this. It was a 10-3 game at half, and then the fourth quarter, second half just went wild. But team stats, Steelers were 9 of 16. Ravens were 4 of 12. 359 total yards for the Ravens, 390 for the Steelers, 290 passing for the Steelers, 100 yards rushing. But basically, this game, pretty much, if you watched it, that is the Steelers' offense. It is methodical, dink and dunk, Aaron Rodgers, cerebral offense. They throw it to their two running backs. Obviously, DK Metcalf was out, so missing him, and that also made this philosophy even more so. But, they are the boring offense. He's the veteran quarterback. One, he has to get the ball out quick because their O-line isn't quite the best. I don't think it's bad either, but also he's old and immobile. You saw it on a first down, on a run where he could have gotten a first down and it got 0 yards. But so he has to get the ball out quick, and it relies on halfback passes and screens and flat routes and Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell breaking tackles. And that's what if you watch that game, it's like dink, dunk, break tackle, and first down, or second and short, third and short, like these little steady ones. So they can take shots. That's probably their best chance to take shots, but we're also great at limiting explosives. So who's ever at strong safety is going to be a big deal to help limit that. But we are elite at stopping screens. Kamari Lassiter, best tackling corner in the league. Jalen Petrie, again, went through all that. And that's kind of how it's been for us all year. Most teams come into the game knowing, hey, we can't throw it deep because their edge rushers and pass rush is so elite that they'll be there in under 3 seconds. So we have to pick and choose when we want to throw it deep. And they come into the game changing their entire game plan to quick game and screens. And you have to hope that you scheme it up or get a good block or break a tackle. That's what it is. And so it can backfire. You can do that early and, throw 2 dink and dunks on the first 2. We tackle. You're now in 3rd and long, and now we rush, and now you're off the field. So do you try and just throw it long in the beginning on the first play and get sacked on first down, and now it's 2nd and long? So it's kind of that dilemma for them. But I feel like most teams realize that, like, hey, we'll do the first part, which is try to dink and dunk, and then if not, even still dink and dunk, and then just punt it, and then, try to stop them on their end because we think their offense isn't that good either too. So that's part of it. But yeah, Kenneth Gainwell had 8 receptions for 64 yards. And Calvin Austin, 3 for 55, had that touchdown on the hitch and go. Let's see, Jalen Warren had 5 for 53. So he has running backs caught 13 passes for almost 100 yards. Like, what are we doing? Freiermuth, 3 for 51. Here's our receivers: Adam Thielen, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Scotty Miller, Jonnu Smith. Like, dude, what? His weapons are not crazy. Like, it's all cerebral, right place, right time. So going through this, my initial thing is sorry, I just had a hiccup and forgot my train of thought. But so the game plan for the Texans is going to be, let me get a sip of water. I can't quite think right now. But yeah, we'll just move on to something else. That'll come back to me. But we'll go to PFF to kind of look at the overall here. Go to NFL scores. It's tough, man. I talk a lot really fast for an hour straight. It's already been an hour. And then eventually my body's like, bro, stop talking. Brandon says 33-9. Larry Payton, my guy, Texans 30-13. I love it, man. I'm kind of along these lines, dude. I'm kind of along those lines. Mike Hunt, great name, says, do you think there's any chance in hell that they would trade up for someone like Love in this next draft? Knowing Nick Caserio, my answer would be no. How about no, Scott? Let's click on the game here. Texans are favored by 3.5 points. According to PFF's rankings, we're number 4, Steelers 14th. Power rank defense, we're number 1, they're 15th. Power rank offense, we're 20th, they're 16th. Strength of schedule played, 18th for us, 19th for them. And we're both percent run plays, 39% for us, 38% for them, 60 to 61. PFF grades, again, take them how you want them. Stroud, 72.9 grade, Rodgers, 68.7. So rating when clean, 106 for Stroud, 101 for Rodgers. When under pressure, 65 for Stroud, 69 for Rodgers. Nice. Big time throw percentage, 2.9 for Stroud, 4.2 for Rodgers. Turnover worthy play, they're both elite at this, 2.5 and then 2.45. And so, yeah, they have Stroud as the 12th best quarterback power rating and Rodgers the 19th. But the thing I like most about this is, I guess I didn't do the grades. We can go back and do the grades for the Colts game after this, but just looking up at like personnel. So obviously DK Metcalf, Thielen, they have as the slot, and then Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Freiermuth tight end. Their linemen are at tackle, Troy Fontenot. He is a second-year guy out of Washington. They have him as a 66 rated guy. So their O-line's all graded pretty well. At right guard is Mason McCormick. Oh, nice. He's a second-year guy out of South Dakota State. Love me some FCS. He's good. And then their center is Zach Frazier. It's all second-year guys. Second-year guy out of West Virginia. And then you have Isaac Suamalo. He's a veteran, 2016 out of Oregon State. And then you have Dylan Cook, who is another FCS guy from Montana. They have 2 FCS guys. That's crazy, dude. I love the FCS, especially FCS lineman, Gray Zabel. But this guy is 6'6", 305 out of Montana in 2022. That's pretty cool. Rodgers, obviously, we know him. And then we talked about Gainwell and Warren. They're both pretty underrated, but, they're not, it's kind of like our backfield, I guess. And then we'll go to, let's see if they're in 12 personnel. They'll put Jonnu Smith in. And then we'll go to their defense. Jalen Ramsey's playing safety now. I think he's nowhere near what he was. They got Kyle Duggar as the other safety. He's not graded very well on PFF. He's at a 53. Linebackers aren't graded that well. Patrick Queen's at a 44. And then let's see who they got here. Malik Harrison. He's from Ohio State. He's at a 57.6. I think they also have Patty Wilson who comes in there. But the corners, I'm not necessarily Joey Porter Jr., highly touted draft pick, second round. I'm not, he's pretty good, but not elite. I think Nico can win there. Highsmith. Let's see here. Alex Highsmith, pretty good rusher. He's graded at 82, so they run the 3-4, so he's a outside linebacker, basically an edge. Cam Hayward, dude, he's been in the league since 2011 at Ohio State and having one of his best years. Insane, 90 grade PFF. Keenal Benton is their interior from Wisconsin, third-year guy, not graded too high, 58. Derek Harmon, someone I was looking at for us to add as an interior guy out of Oregon, first-year rookie. And then you got TJ Watt, obviously, very good. He had that long he's coming off of. But then if you go to nickel, I didn't go on Pierre. James Pierre is their other corner at FAU. He has an 86.7 grade, so he's pretty highly graded on PFF. Again, this is just for looking at. And so if you go to nickel, Wilson comes in as the backer. He's a 54 grade, but a lot of tackles. And then Brandon Eccles will be their slot guy out of Kentucky. So, yeah, that pretty much covers that end. Let's see. Let me make sure if there's any comments that I need to get to. See, JJ says, I love how Steelers fans been hyping up the return of DK, and dude has been next to irrelevant for the majority of the season. And I think they'll run him up numbers like JSN. Yeah, he's literally like vertical slant. That's his whole – he's not a good route runner, bro. And I don't think he's necessarily like a very really, really good jump ball guy either. I think he's just a burner and box you out. He's not gonna, I guess he does make some go up and catch the ball, but I don't see him as a guy mossing people really. Or it's a slant, kind of like AJ Brown in that sense, as far as a slant and catch it with potential to break it and go. But given our defense, yeah, I mean, you've seen Stingley lock up much better guys than that. Let's see. Make sure we're all good. Do you believe we need to get another quarterback to accompany Stroud and Mills? No, I mean, Mertz is a great third string. Yeah, where's Nick Herbig? He's not on here. Nick Herbig, great point. I don't know how they didn't pull up Nick Herbig, but he's definitely a good rotational piece for them. Thank you for that, Larry. Sorry to ping pong back and forth, but I will go over to the grades real quick from the Colts game. Again, sometimes they match up, sometimes they don't. But real quick, the overall grading for the year, Texans are ranked 5th with an 88.9 team rating behind the Rams, Seahawks, Lions, and Patriots. Like, kind of checks out. Like, so big picture, and more often than not, is pretty good resource. But let's see. Let me go back to Texans and go to schedule. And so for the game, we had a 75.9 grade, 73 on offense, 64 on defense. Again, a bunch of backups, so we'll just buzz through this. But Schultz graded well, 83. Brooks, 78. Davis Mills, 78.6. That's surprising. Jalen Knoll, 74. Woody Mark, 72. Stroud, 71. Stover, 70. And these are all green. These are all good. Hutch, 69. Nice. Higgins, 68. Had a couple drops. Jake Andrews, 67. Patterson, 64. So played a little bit better at left guard. Ed Ingram, 62. Ursary with the broken hand. Forgot about that. 60. Tommy Togiai, 60 on offense, had one snap. Jawar got hurt with the ankle. Hopefully he's fine. 59. Fisher, 59. Played left tackle again. 26 snaps. When he came in after Ursary came out, Justin Watson came back and played, and that could be a sneaky development. Like, he came in there and played 13 snaps, and 11 of them were run blocking. Like, he's a damn good run blocker. Christian Kirk, 51. Scruggs, 51. Bryant, 50. Kingston, 49. Dare, 46. Howard, 43. That's not good, Titus. Go over to defense. Elijah Huzzy. Love the Huzzies. But yeah, so Larry says Herbig blitzes a lot. And then Elijah Huzzy had a great game, 90. Will Anderson, 90. Hunter, 86. Tommy, 83. Miles Bryant came in and played some strong safety, 35 total snaps, 80.9. Aziz, 80. Petrie, 76. Defense balled out. Hutch, 70. Jalen Knoll played Hutch and Knoll played snaps. But yeah, so EJ Speed got down low, but he came in the game and played a snap at defensive end during the game. Lecky Fotu, 32. Damon Clark, 30. Merriweather, 31.4. Naquan Jones, 38. Both of our backup defensive tackles didn't grade well. Christian Harris didn't grade well, 40. Stingley, 51. Stingley didn't play well. He got burned on back-to-back plays. One they dropped, one they caught in the end zone. But, maybe it's just a whatever game. Kevon Wallace, 55. Bullock, 59. So, but yeah, so let's go to the best part of the preview, which is NFL Pro. And I might do another show depending on if I get more in depth or not. But I plan on writing a preview article this week. Try and do it Friday. But yeah, so if you go right here, and so just like an overview, points per game, Texans 23.8, which is 13th. Steelers 23.4, which is 15th. So we are a better offense from points per game perspective. Point differential, we are plus 109, which is 6th. They are plus 10, which is 18th. That indicates we're the better team. Record in close games, we started 0-5 and won our next 7. That was my big argument for all of that. So 7-5, and they are 7-3. Larry says Sting must lock in for playoff games. I agree. And I hope you will, and I think you will. And then our average margin of victory, 11.1, which is 15th, and theirs is 8, which is 23rd. Turnover differential, they are plus 17. We are plus 17, which is 2nd. That's it, dude. Take care of the ball. turn the ball over. And then they are plus 12, which is fourth. So they kind of do the same. And then total penalties, 118 for us, 24th. Not great. 101 for them, they're ninth. But yeah, so we can look at, like, they have like these metrics. Here's passing. Just looking at this here, let me take this off. So this is our passing offense versus their passing defense. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to 1, 2, 3, 4. Our offense passing has 7 advantages against their defense, which has 4. So net 3. As bad as our offense is, they're plus 3 against their defense passing. And this is, based off their metrics, not always true, but I mean, it's pretty in-depth stuff. Their offense passing versus our defense passing, we have every advantage except one, and they rank them by like how strong they are. Like on the other side, our offense, the highest we had was 3 stars. The highest they had was 3 stars. So not a huge gap, but over on our defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 to 1. And 3 of those are 5-star. 1, 2, 3, 4 are 4 stars. The rest are 3 and then a 2-star. And we got a huge advantage there. So, and we can get into like the weeds as far as blitz, no blitz. I don't know if y'all want to hear me read through all that, but you can look at this. It's not always the exact truth, but it can give you an idea. But my initial instinct is, I don't know if we want to run man or blitz Aaron Rodgers, because we talked about their backs catching passes. You go man, you now got Henry To'oTo'o on Gainwell, gets juked, can't tackle him. Whereas if he's in zone, he can at least get there and slow him down with backup. Or now you have Miles Bryant or whoever it is, that strong safety gets matched up on somebody. They can definitely, work DK on somebody. So, you can get Petrie in a disadvantageous situation potentially. To me, it's like zone, very few blitz, show blitz, drop in zone. Like Rodgers' strength is his brain. He's a good dissector of the defense, and the reason he's so good is a lot of defenses in the league now try to get pressure by disguising and fooling you with either the pressure coming or the coverage, and then you get tricked by the coverage and you hold on to the ball longer. The Texans defense literally just line up in what they're going to run and run that shit, because one, it starts with the front. Will and Daniil can get home in less than 2.5 seconds every time. And so you basically have a blitz built into zone coverage with your natural 4-man rush. And then 2, our guys are so disciplined and athletic and well coached that like their zone is like a tight net. Like they're on it, dude. They're super fundamentally sound, and they're great tacklers. So that's been our plan the whole time, is run cover 4, cover 3, keep everything in front of you, force the check down and fucking hit them and like make them pay and tackle, and no yak, no extra yardage. And their offense is doing that, but breaking it. So, I mean, to me, I don't want to get in man. It doesn't make sense. Like we can dive into it, but let's just see right here, passing versus pressure. So, I mean, it says they're number 25, but that also includes like a 4-man pressure, but passing versus the blitz, they're number 25 and we're 18th. That's surprising. So I would have thought it was more, but they're number 9 in quick passing. That's their one advantage. We're number 13 on defense. But yeah, so maybe my overall generic view isn't quite correct. Like I'm kind of diving through it now with you guys, and maybe we'll do another show. I'll definitely put in the article as far as further analysis on that with support. But checking the time, it's only 10:19. Nice. Intermediate passing. So on our end, it says intermediate passing, we're number 8. They're 24. That's the digs and end breakers. Boom, let's go. Play action. They got an advantage on us. They're number 1. We're number 9. So that's one of our strengths, but they're pretty good at it. Passing versus pressure, we're number 10, but they're number 3. Our advantage is passing versus no pressure. We're 16. They're 27. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of, but we got like on the defensive end, we got massive advantages. Long passing, they're 21st. We're 1st. Passing versus play action, they're 26th. We're 2nd. Passing versus pressure, they're 25th. We're number 2. Passing versus no blitz, they're 11. We're number 1. Overall passing, 16 versus 1. Passing versus no pressure, 19 versus 1. Short passing, 6 versus 1. Like our pass defense is insane, dude. And then you go to rushing, and As far as our offense versus their defense, they have all the advantages except one, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Only one is a 4-star, and there are a couple 3-stars, a couple 2-stars, so not a huge deal. And then flip side, we have all the advantages except one, and then a couple pushes. So as far as the ones that stick out, rushing under center, we're 31st, they're 12th, and then the one advantage we have is rushing out of shotgun. We're number 8, they're 16th. And then, as far as the flip side, their offense rushing, they are 25 versus light box, and we're 4. So we run a 4-2-5. We can say, dare you to run it and still stop you. And then QB scrambles, an area that we are 32nd in, they're 26. Rodgers can't run. That's a massive advantage to us. And so, so pretty much every game we've played, we run zone, cover forward as drop back, and force you to limit the explosives, force you to dink and dunk, and force you to drive the field. And then, let our front four eat. And then the other games where we've run more man, when we played Josh Allen, Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and those games, we literally run cover one like every play because they got a mobile quarterback. And so with a robber, and they can rob either underneath routes or they can be a spy. And so when we had these game plans, they've been pretty stagnant. And so you do wonder, okay, now it's playoffs. Will we start to open that bag? I don't know if this week's the best week for it with Rodgers, who, when you try to get too cute, will unravel it. Because when you do some of that, if it gets uncracked or cracked or solved, then it can be like when you blitz, that's when a lot of big plays happen. So this may not be the week for, all of a sudden doing exotic stuff. Like I think our same formula might be fine for this week. Maybe later in the playoffs, you might throw in some more exotic stuff, but I guess that'll be something to watch. But yeah, let me, I'm going to take a sip of water. So I'm going to take a second to give my voice a rest, and I'm going to play some clips and then we'll go back to the insights. But here is Rodgers. I was watching his presser after the game. Thought this was pretty interesting. He was kind of giving you insight to how he sees things. And I'm not sharing it. So let me restart that and share this instead. My bad. All right, here we go.
Snaps it, and they bring strong dog. They bring the mic, and they bring 44 off the slot. And we talked from day one when I got here. I like throwing vertical peaks, first pressure. So start off by looking vertical. And we actually.
So I kind of like misspoke. I said it's like a dig. Basically, it's just like you're running a vertical, but then a vertical peak. And this is what I've wanted the Texans to do. Like, just turn around and look. There's a vertical peak. Like, hey, I'm running a vertical, but they're going to blitz. But as I'm running, I'm going to look. Oh, ball, boom, catch. Like, that's what he says. He likes to throw vertical peaks.
He kind of like made eye contact in the huddle and just said, be alert. And then sure enough, he widens slightly like he's supposed to. He catches the ball with his hands. He gets 14 yards, and that's a drive continuer. We talked on through routes. If you get 2 men, double up, take your time, give them an outbreak look, and then go down the middle. And on the second last drive, he ran an absolutely unbelievable route. And it was just perfect. I mean, I'm literally throwing it, kind of laughing at myself because I'm like.
So basically a stick nod, 2 man. If he's running like an over route, he says, give him an outside move. So nothing crazy. But let me just scroll back a little ways to see if there's anything worthwhile to kind of work our way back. All over the place today. I'm a little sporadic as usual. I saw the Titans interviewed Jason Garrett. He's a great coach. They should definitely hire him. Oh, if you haven't, check this out from Tyler. I believe it's pronounced Dune or Dunn. I'm going to try to do an interview with him, but he wrote an amazing article on the Texans defense. He spent a couple of weeks with them. Super, super in depth, 2 parts. Goes back with like personal background on Kamari, Aziz, Henry, a lot of good stuff on there, like behind the ethos of the Texans defense. Very good stuff. But yeah, let me keep going down. Kevin Durant had a game winner, which was sick. And our new pitcher from Japan is all over H-Town getting dubs. Tatsuya Imai. he is goated. And I think I'm almost to a point where we can listen to some clips. And so, yeah, it's going to be annoying. I'm going to kind of do a couple of these, and then I will creep back over to the preview. But I just need to do this for a minute to kind of give me some time to rest my voice. I try to talk because obviously if you don't get to watch or listen to the whole thing on here, you can rewatch or listen obviously on Facebook and Twitter. Stays up for a while, but YouTube. But the big thing is going to be Apple and Spotify, which is called Second Guessing with Stressan. So he likes to start off looking vertical. Well, not going to work on our secondary. We get the short passes and swarm, but not deep. Do you think we can beat the Steelers, says Ernesto? Yes, I think we can. In the life of Colby, I wouldn't blitz Rodgers that much. I would show fronts to confuse him more than anything. Yep. Jacob says we need to see more Tommy Togiai in the backfield and goal line. I agree 100%. JJ, we probably don't need to dig deep into that bag yet. I agree. Julius Harris, where you been, bro? Man, I've been chilling, bro. How you doing, bro? Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Larry Payton. All right. And let's see. In the life of Colby, had the Steelers played defenses like Seattle, Denver, San Francisco. How did they fare? If so, no, they haven't played very many good defenses. And when they have not fared well. So I meant to go through their schedule. I kind of skipped around that. We'll go back to that. No, bro, what are your thoughts on Stingley play recently? You think the injury is bothering him? Yeah, I go back and forth. It feels like it, and then he does good and then doesn't do good. But, I mean, it was good enough for him to play in that game he didn't have to play in. So I think his style of play, man, he kind of just sometimes is just chilling. But I think he'll be fine. But, yeah, Texans are now 4-0 in games called by J.J. Watt. They did release our opponents based off of the standings finishing as far as home and away. The Texans next year have the Colts, Jaguars, Titans at home, also on the road, but at home, non-division games, they have the Ravens, who they just fired Jim Harbaugh, which I thought was so dumb. I know Ravens fans wanted it, but that came off to me as this is what I suspected and basically was reported by Rappaport, but it felt like it was an ultimatum like between Lamar Jackson and Harbaugh, like him or me, because that's the only thing that would make sense. Like, why would you fire him? And that's basically what it was. They're like, hey, and then also he wouldn't fire, Todd Monken, who I thought was a great OC, and then Zach Orr. I could maybe you should fire him, but yeah. So I don't know how they'll be next year, man. Bengals, they should. Who knows? I mean, off year for them past couple years at home. Bills at home again, House of Horrors. Cowboys at home, let's go. And then Giants at home. And then on the road, non-divisional games at Cleveland, okay. At Pittsburgh, playing there, okay. At LA Chargers, all right, run it back. At Philadelphia, that'll be tough and good. And then at Washington, had an off year, potentially a rebound next year. At Green Bay, always tough. But yeah, so post-game, Tommy Togiai with Jane Slater. This is great right here.
This was close to the very end. Walk me through the final play.
Oh, man. Oh, I'm trying to catch my breath. I'm sorry. Man, we know they was just trying to get the ball out to someone, get in his face. Lateral, you only got 5 seconds left. Just trying to affect the QB. And then they lateral up, just trying to find the ball. Pop right to me, scored.
Have you ever scored a touchdown before?
No, I haven't.
What did it feel like as a defensive guy?
Man, you live for that. As a defensive lineman, you live to get in the end zone and score one.
To get dogpiled by the team and to know that you guys are heading into the postseason, how would you describe this 9-game win streak and that ending?
Just carry the momentum into the playoffs. We got a good thing going. We just got everyone be on their job and execute going into the playoffs.
Did someone grab that ball for you, I hope?
Yeah, they told me they got it, so I'm glad someone got it.
And where's it going to go?
In the house and go play, pace it up, first touchdown.
Catch your breath. What a game. Thank you.
He didn't know what to say, bro.
To the very
He's also like a shy, quiet guy. That was a dope interview. But yeah, so that play was sick, dude. And here's D'Amico. This was kind of funny. Not funny, but cool.
When Davis, went in there, I know we were a little bit ahead of the 2-minute warning there at the end, and I told the guys it's time for a little Mills magic. Like that's what he's done before. We've seen him, lead our team to victory there in 2-minute situations. So everyone was calm in the moment, understanding that we knew Davis would be able to make the plays to get us down we want to get in range there to hit the field goal, and Davis did exactly that. We threw the ball, ran the ball, whatever we needed to do to get gain yards.
So did we see what would have happened? Would we have been, if we would have lost that game, would we have been the 6th seed? Because the Bills are 12-5 and Chargers 11-6. So we would have been the 6th seed and we would have been playing Jacksonville. I'm pretty sure is how that would have been. So crazy it turned out that way. Yeah, we'll do a couple more videos to give my voice a little bit more of a rest. But yeah, here's D'Amico. Nah, that's not really worth it. Yeah, Carly Ursay Gordon, not so cool now, is it, huh? Here's Will. This gets me hyped.
These years.
I do. I just saw the D-line when we broke it down, man. Like, we're 4 games away from being world champions. Whatever you have to sacrifice, whatever you have to give up, like, don't look too far ahead, but really be in the moment, but really look what we're striving for, look what we're going towards. And I think everybody's been doing a really good job with that. Like, man, like, we're a couple of games away from being exactly where we want to be at.
That's dope, man. Great perspective, long term, but also narrow focused. But yeah, so here's CJ on the TD run for Tommy, or he had that.
It was a time I felt bad because, like, it's always weird when you're under center and, like, they got some big boys. So the 9-0, he's a big guy, and he's breathing, and, like, I'm like, I got to get out. Like, I don't want to get my foot stepped on, and so I, like, skipped out. And Gerard was like, "Don't skip on this play because it's gonna happen faster than you think." And so we only walked through. We didn't, like, get a live rip, I don't think. But so I didn't skip, and then I went back to, like, my human nature, and I skipped out and I missed him. And I felt so bad. I went over there and did 5 push-ups for him, but I'm good though. I'm good. We finished. He got his touchdown. Nobody can be bad at me anymore. But I'm just happy for my guy. I love Tommy. That's one of my Buckeye brothers. I've known Tommy since I was 18 years old. So he's a great player, but also a great human. I'm just really happy to see him really prevail in this league and have great seasons back to back.
And then here's CJ's interview with Evan Washburn.
Well, CJ, first of all, congrats on 9 straight wins. I got to start, though. It seems like an ultimate ball don't lie situation with Tommy Togiai on the failed, I guess, handoff, and then he finished it with the touch. Because I'm watching everything.
Yeah, I missed him. Probably got to get some more reps. That's my fault, but, got the touchdown. But Tommy just needs a shot with the ball. He go and score. So that last play, man, just a testimony to our team. Our season, how it's gone up and down, the way we finished right there to finish the regular season was really amazing.
Yeah, now we move on to the playoffs. You lock in the 5 seed. The Titans didn't help you out, so you're going to see on the road either Pittsburgh or Baltimore. What are your thoughts on those potential matchups?
I mean, 2 great teams, 2 playoff-worthy teams that are, going to battle tonight. So, we'll be watching and, seeing who we're going to go and play. But, it's all about us. Everything that, we want is in front of us, and it's all for the taking, so we got to go out and do it.
Yeah, you mentioned it. You've been in the postseason the last 2 years. What's different about this team that you think can maybe push through?
I think the experience. I think myself, I know a lot of the guys on the defense, a lot of guys special teams, offense, all the way around, coaches. Like you said, we've been in the playoffs 2 years in a row, now 3. So we got a lot of hard work that we need to do that we know that is coming up. The work really starts right now. So, we're excited for it. And all the experience that we had in the last 2 years of losing, we're going to use those pains and those scars, to try to get a dub.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we'll kind of bounce back here. I got my voice rested a little bit. I meant to go through the Steelers and their schedule as kind of like my initial dive, but yeah, so beat the Ravens, no DK, lost to the Browns without DK, but still, bro. I mean, like, the Browns are frisky, and I know we've had close loss or wins against bad teams, but I mean, come on. All they had to do is beat the Browns to clinch a berth, and they couldn't do it. Beat the Lions, who turns out aren't quite as good as we thought, but I think this game was, let's see, was it close? This game was 15-10, Pittsburgh 20. They pretty much controlled it. That was a game they could have lost, right? Is that the one like at the last play of the game? Let me see here. This was the one with the controversial endings with the 2 OPIs at the end. Like, they could have very well lost that game to the Lions, who aren't what we think they were this year. So there's that one. And then the Dolphins, okay. Dolphins not great, but, give them credit for the win. And let's see here. Then they beat the Ravens again. Again, the Ravens, we stomped them, dude. But I think, did Lamar play in this game? Let me look at this box score. Yeah, he did. Close game, won that one. And then let's see, go back again. They lost to the Bills 26-7, team that we beat. It was also there. Lost to the Bears 31-28. Beat the Bengals, who were not very good. I think that was with probably Joe Flacco. Yeah, they beat Joe Flacco. And then they lost to the Chargers at LA 25-10. Kind of got manhandled by them. And yeah, so that's a good defense. Rodgers was 16 of 31, 161, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I mean, just looking at good defenses, Chargers. After this, I'll go to Rodgers' game log and we'll look at good defenses. Beat the Colts 27-20, which, we know about the Colts. Lost to the Packers 35-25 at home. Lost to the Bengals early in the year to Joe Flacco, I believe. Yep, that's right. I remember that. That was a sick Thursday night game, I believe. Rodgers and Flacco. Beat the Browns early in the year, 23-9. Beat the Vikings by 3, 24-21. Beat the Patriots early in the year, which is crazy, 21-14. And lost to the Seahawks 31-17 and beat the Jets by 2 points in the season opener. So they just don't. I mean, you go through all that, like, they're a playoff team, but like your eyes tell you like they're not a great team. And then going through Rodgers' game log, good defense, Seahawks. He was 18 of 33, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Okay, that tells you right there. Patriots, good defense, 16 of 23, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Pretty good game and 1. Browns, good defense, 21 of 30, 2 touchdowns. Okay. Let's see. Green Bay, okay defense, 24-36, 2 touchdowns and a loss. Chargers, good defense, 16 of 31, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. All right, and a loss. Buffalo, pretty good defense, 10 of 21, 117. Gross, dude. And then let's see, Cleveland again, 21 of 39, good defense, 0 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. So, yeah, he hasn't played a ton of good defenses, and when he hasn't done well per se. As far as sacks go, I mean, the most he's had was week 1. He had 4 in a game, got sacked 3 times, about 4 times, 3 times in a game, 5 times, and then, a handful of 0s and 2s. So, but, yeah, I don't really know that they've faced a defense like ours. Obviously the Seahawks, yeah, but not a lot of them. So that's worth highlighting. And then now, going back over to the stuff over here. Yeah, so JJ Sugar, yeah, they're cooked. He says their record versus playoff teams is 1-5. Yeah, like you don't want to sit here and get over cocky, but like you look at this shit and it's like, all right, dude, like look at their shit versus our shit. Like who we played and how we fared versus who they played and how they fared. It's like, okay, we should handle this game. We will go as far as CJ will take us this year. I agree, and I think he can take us all the way, bro. Let's see. Did I miss some good dialogue up here? Yeah, Giants at home means no MetLife. Facts. Jags fans are delusional. Colts fans are also funnily mad at Carly Ursay. Them boys locked in. About to get a parade in February. Says Life of Colby. I think it can happen, man. But yeah, so get back to over here. Insights. Haven't even looked at these. Oh, there's only 2. Damn it, dude. I thought there'd be a bunch on here. So Steelers offense versus Texans defense. The Texans played in 9 games with fewer than 40 points in 2025, tied for the second most such games in the NFL. Only Cleveland had more with 11. Style of play, man. In games against teams to finish with the 500 record or better in 2025, the Texans allowed just 19.4 points per game, 5th. The Steelers 23.4 points per game, ranked 15th in the regular season. So, yeah, we fare well against good teams. DK versus Texans defense. DK Metcalf has been held below 60 receiving yards in all but 4 of his games in 2025 and has done so once since week 6. Since week 7, Metcalf averaged 4 receptions, 49 receiving yards per game. Metcalf was suspended weeks 17 and 18. In weeks 1 through 6, he averaged 3.8 receptions per game and 71. He hasn't had a good year overall and not very good lately. So yeah, it kind of sticks out. But what we can do is go to next gen stats and maybe just look at some stats. We'll go to EPA for quarterbacks, which is a team stat, but I think it also has offense infused. But Stroud is 12th with plus 31. And then let's look at Rodgers. Rodgers is 25th with minus 19. So Stroud is playing much better quarterback. You can boil that down to EPA per dropback. Same results, essentially. Stroud 11th, and then Rodgers 21st. But they're both taking care of the ball. Let's look at time to throw just while we're here. It kind of tells you how quickly the ball's getting out. Aaron Rodgers, 2.59 seconds. He's just throwing the ball. He's like Tua is the next guy at 2.65. So, I mean, he's just literally just throwing the ball on screens right away. So you got to watch out for tempo, no huddle, catching you off guard. It's only going to be like trickery, getting you off your toes. Stroud is at 2.82. He's 16th. So that's good for us, but going to, let me go to next gen stats and go to, let's go to team offense. We're at team offense, yards per game. Obviously we're 18th, 327. Okay. Which, a couple yards away from being a couple spots higher. And the Steelers are 25th at 305. So they talk about our offense and our offense sucks. Their fucking offense sucks, dude. What are we talking about? EPA per play. They're 16th at minus 0.03, and we're minus 0.05 at 19. So they got us a little edge on there, slightly better. Pass yards per game. We are 14th, 218, and the Steelers are 22nd, 202. So EPA per pass, we are 13th, minus 0.01. They are 17th, minus 0.04. Where they're going to get us is the rushing game, obviously. And I think neither rushing offense will be great, but we're 22nd with 108. Actually, and they're 26th at 103. So, I mean, okay. EPA per rush. They'll probably get us an EPA. They're 13th with minus 0.02, and then our EPA is 29th, minus 0.1. But as far as quarterback pressure percentage, pressure rate, they both should be low because we both get the ball out quick. They're 22.6. It's because they throw it out quick. So, that's the give and take. Like if you don't hold on to the ball, you throw it out. Yes, you won't get pressured and sacked. But you also won't have explosives. So we're kind of seeing the same thing, but not nearly as bad as them. But for them, it's like no pressure, but also no explosives. We have some pressure, some explosives, but a lot of not pressure. But we're 10th at 31.9, and they're 22.6. So we may not get a lot of sacks, but, we've played games like this. I'm trying to think like the Broncos. That's how the Broncos are. Bo Nix, we pretty much shut down Bo Nix. He made plays with his legs late, but they literally just throw screens all game, and we shut that shit down. So, that's a great game to look at. This will be like the Broncos game minus the threat of a running quarterback. Trying to look at other quick throwing teams. But, yeah, that's the best comp. It's going to be the same game plan for the Broncos, but you change it without a running quarterback. And then team defense – and then JJ, I swear it's like Steeler fans don't watch games outside of their own team the way they talk about them. I mean, it's always the loudest fans that aren't necessarily the most honest. Life of Colby, if this was 2023, I would be nervous, but they've all been saying all offseason, they know it's at stake. Yeah, they seem like they're experienced and they've been kind of through the fire. So JJ says, I'm normally not this cocky, but our team is battle tested and their team is barely getting by. I agree, man. I'm fighting from being like that, but it's it just is what it is, dude. Berserk Rain, and it was your early season Patriots as well. Yep. JJ, no, I'm cocky as fuck with this one. See, I like how we go through it together and we kind of be like, oh shit, yeah, dude. But yeah, defense. I mean, yards per game, we're number one. Their defense that gets no respect is 26, 359, 356 yards per game. Come on, dude. EPA per play. We are minus 0.18, number one. And the Steelers defense is number 17. Okay, yeah. pass yards per game. We give up 183. That got skewed because of that freaking game, which is 6th. And the Steelers give up the 29th most yards per game passing. Let's go, CJ. 243 yards. Big game, CJ coming, dude. And then let's see, EPA per pass. They give up, Texans are minus 0.26, by far the best. And then they're 18th. So, yeah, their pass defense is not great. Rush yards per game allowed. Texans are number 4 at 93.7. Steelers are number 13 at 113.1. So, yeah, it may be tough there, but we've played much better run defense. We've played the Broncos. The Jags are number 1, played them twice. Broncos number 1, played them. Or number 2. Seattle number 3. So that's 3 of our losses right there against the 3 best rush defenses. Bucks, another top 5, number 5, another loss against them. So 4 of our losses are against great rush. So this is what I've been saying. Like, we are a run first offense. When we can't run the ball, we suck. And when we play really good run defenses, we suck. Jaguars, Broncos, Seahawks, Bucks, all top 5. That's 4 of our 5 losses right there. And then as far as our other loss, forgetting on top of mind right now, but so the Steelers being 13th, they're not bad, but they're not great. So that's a good sign for us. Let's see. And we can, since there wasn't as much metrics, we can do a little more in depth on as far as inside versus outside. But EPA per rush, as far as defenses go, the Texans are 10th, minus 0.07, and Steelers are 20th. So, yeah, their rush defense isn't great. Quarterback pressure percentage. Again, Texans, they're 18th, which is 33.9%. It's a product of offenses not allowing us to rush the passer. And then Pittsburgh, maybe in a similar situation, they are 32.9%, right behind us at 20. But as far as like rushing, let's go to run defense, and we'll go to inside the tackles. Let's see. Is JJ on the columns? We need him. O has made some improvements since then, including O-line changes. I'm confident. Yeah, we've had a lot of changes. How do you feel about the Watt Bowl, TJ or JJ? I bet JJ is rooting for TJ, man. And he probably won't admit it, but he is. And the wife had told me facts, bro. This defense is capable. Just manage the game. If you get kicked, nothing but field goals. Yeah, I mean, people are going to hate it, but like, we hate it. We win. It's like, all right, cool, we won. So, and then we kind of like talk crap about it, but like, we want to win. That's it. Yeah, so this is the rush yards inside the tackles. We don't give up very many. We're 9th. You know what? We love to run inside the tackles. Steelers, they give up 53 yards inside the tackles per game, 23rd. So let's look at what that would be for. Is there EPA for that? EPA per rush. The EPA per rush inside the tackles is, if they want to run inside, they're more of a wide zone team, but we're 6th in EPA inside the tackles. Defense, they're 18th. So that matches up well for us. We like to run inside the tackles. We're not super great at it. We'll be able to have success. So I don't know if you want to do all this crap right here. Stacked, light box, percentage, stuff percentage. I guess you could do that. And so we stuff the box at the 10th highest rate, and they're 22nd. So, yeah, we won't get negative runs that often. And then let's do outside the tackles. And let's see what all these numbers are. Rush yards allowed per game outside the tackles. The Steelers like to run the ball outside the tackles, and we are the 2nd fewest yards outside the tackles allowed on our defense. And then as far as their defense, they're 11th. So they're a better defense at stopping the run outside the tackles. But guess what? We don't like to do that. So that matches up really well for us. Let's go kind of look at that on the flip side for the offense. So team offense. Let's look at rushing offense inside the tackles. And so rush yards per game, we're 12th with 55 yards, but rush yards per play is probably not a good average. Yeah, you can see our average is 25th. So we just basically run the ball up the middle, up the middle, up the middle until we get yards. Hey, but let's look at the Steelers. You're going to see, let's go outside the tackles. And, you know, my suspicion watching them, Gainwell, Warren, they're an outside the tackles team. And we're really good at stopping the run outside the tackles. Let's see where they are. Rush yards per game outside the tackles. The Steelers are, man, where are they? Where are they? I'm tripping right now. All right. The Steelers, why can't I see them? Outside the tackles are 26, 103.8 yards per game. Damn. So they're not even great at it. That's what they like to do. Run percentage. That's not going to be. I'm trying to see the total number. Let's see where they are, like on the number of runs outside the tackles. Yeah, so they have 231 outside the tackles, or at league average. But EPA per rush. Let's do that. EPA per rush. Man, they're minus 0.07. I don't know. I heard some stuff and thought that, but that's outside the tackles. Let's see inside the tackles again real quick to check. Sorry, this is kind of not sounding great, but yeah, I mean, it says they're better at inside the tackles, but man, like diving into it like that, like I'm not really that scared, dude. Like, is what it is. So, yeah, Jermaine says that'll set up Fairbairn for 4 or 5 field goals. I mean, I can see it, and it is what it is, but I'm pumped, man. Like, we should win and dominate the game. I'll write an article Friday, maybe do a live if I have more info to share by then, maybe have an interview. But, man, I appreciate you guys. As always, follow me on all platforms at Texans Commenter or at Houston Stressans on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. My website, HoustonStressans.com. Get you some merch. I got my Houston versus Everybody shirt on. Hopefully this is back in vogue after Stroud goes off for 330 and 3 tubs at I guess it's not Heinz Field anymore, but yeah, well, you know what? I guess we got, let me see. I still got some interviews I can play on my timeline here. My bad, fellas. Yeah, let me go back through here and share some of this stuff. That was just it with the recap. Share screen. Yeah, they got Arthur Smith as their OC, which is basically Aaron Rodgers as their OC. And yeah, so we're Monday night. Finally didn't get a Saturday game at 3:30 for once in our lives. Pretty crazy. It was nice to see the Ravens lose. Their fans were talking mad shit after we beat them early in the year. And yeah, we're just going to scroll through the timeline, see if we can find some good stuff for you guys to listen to. Here's Stroud after getting pulled after the game.
I want to keep playing. I feel like I was just getting in the groove. And, we had a rough first quarter, but I felt in the second quarter, we were moving the ball, scored in the red zone twice. And, I'm always – whenever I get the chance to play, I want to play as much as I can. So, but I understand why I wasn't able to, and got to just move on.
And real quick too, like obviously, Cam Hayward's a good big defensive tackle, and we have struggled against those guys. So short yardage is something to worry about, but that's where you got to get creative. Bring in Tommy, run it to the outside in short yardage. Here's D'Amico. So yeah, again, I was impressed that I guess we don't need to play that. I was impressed that he was aware of the Jags game. And then going back through J.J. Watt, talking about D'Amico Ryans.
JJ, I never want to put you in a spot, but you have gone for a second here and speak of the pride in which Coach Ryans has accomplished with this group thus far.
Yeah, I think he was the exact right hire at the exact right time for this organization. 3 years ago, they were in a place where it was not good down here in Houston, and they needed somebody to right the ship and set the culture of the organization and put it in the right direction. And D'Amico Ryans, having played here, understanding what this place needs to be successful, has done that and then some. 3 years, 3 playoff appearances, 10-plus wins, and he's been able to do it successfully over and over again, even after an 0-3 start this year. Just who he is and the way he leads this organization. So stable, the same guy every day, and such a good football coach that these guys are getting the most out of them thanks to their head coach.
JJ, I never want to put you in a spot, but
we're so lucky to have D'Amico, bro. Like every time I listen to him, like he's so even keeled. He's just like the perfect human. Like I know it sounds weird to say, but like how can you not have respect for that guy? Like he's just so mild mannered, never too high, never too low, but also commands your respect by not having to be an asshole. Very positive, super fucking smart, dude. Like, I listened to all of his interviews with Vandermeer and whoever and whatever, but like when he tells you stuff about the opposing team or players, like that shit fucking happens. And like I can kind of pick up like when he talks about certain players, like you can tell when like you ask a guy like, oh, about this guy, like, oh yeah, he's good, but like when someone just like voluntarily like talks about a player or lights up, like all the players that like you can tell that he likes more than others just by the way he reacts, responds. Like Ginty, he was like, this guy's fucking good. And like, boom, he killed us. Like last year was Lad McConkey. He's like, Lad's a stud. Like we wanted him and he killed us. Like, so, I mean, it's just a lot of stuff that he says and it happens the way it does. But I'm just getting at like, I'm just so glad that he's our coach, dude. He is more than worthy of the job. We're lucky to have him, dude. He's the perfect coach for us. Here's D'Amico on Mike Tomlin.
The matchup versus the Steelers, really great team. Nothing but a ton of respect, all right, for Coach Tomlin and the success that he's had in the league, how he's done it for such a long time. He's a guy who definitely I've always looked up to, always respected him, always has his teams ready to go, well coached, physical outfit. Like they're going to play tough. And it was really cool to see how they won that game last night. Just pure will, determination, found a way to win. Had things go their way. Aaron's done a good job there at the quarterback position. Defense has always played tough. So we're excited about the opportunity.
Do you have any kind of relationship with Mike, and did he give you any advice or words when you first started this role at Houston?
I've always, kept in touch with Mike as we, get together throughout the owners' meetings, everything. Just always, very complimentary of what we're doing here. Just always positive. That's the thing I say. Always positive. Always great encouragement from a guy who's done it at a level that everybody would seek to do it. Like you've had over 20 years of winning seasons. Like not many people can do that. And he's done it. He stuck around at one place, probably the longest tenured head coach right now in the NFL for a reason, because he knows how to win.
Your thoughts?
Yep. That's him on the Steelers. Let's see. Keep going through. We're getting some love in the media this week. Here's Mina Kimes on the Texans.
All right, go ahead, Mina. They're just so fun to watch. Marcus, you talked about like having a plan for the front. I already know what the plan for the front is. That ball is coming out in 2.5 seconds or less. The problem is when offenses do that, and that's typically the plan against Houston, Dan alluded to this, they don't let you get yards after the catch on short passes. They are allowing the lowest yards per attempt of any team. They have the best success rate. They're allowing first downs under 25% of the time. They swarm to the football. Dan and I are all pro voters, and I put, I think, 4 or 5 Texans defenders on my list at multiple levels of this defense. I mean, Kamari Lassiter, we talk about Will Anderson Jr. and obviously Daniel Hunter and Derek Stingley Jr. He might be the best tackling corner in the entire damn NFL. So to not to say this is hopeless, Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have to push the ball downfield because dink and dunk does not work against it.
Facts. But I mean, it's like, what are they going to do? Like there's, it's damn if you do, damn if you don't. So, and then here's Marcus Spears on the Texans versus Steelers.
Guys, listen, we going to be there for Monday night. I don't think the Steelers are a threat. I'm actually terrified for them. Because 2 weeks ago, I saw them only score 6 points against the Cleveland Browns. And this Houston Texans team, I never thought I would say this, is I don't think you want to play against them as an offense. Like this is one of those situations where Aaron Rodgers last night took over the football game and did a phenomenal job. But we wasn't writing home about the Baltimore Ravens defense. We haven't wrote home about them all season long. This is a different animal. And the only reason I say that they're not a threat is because when you look at the game last night, it was still balls flying over the secondary head. Derrick Henry still was making explosive runs. And you saw the deficiencies that have shown up all season long. Now, getting DK back is unbelievably timely for what they're about to face against the Houston Texans. And the secondary, at times, you can win back there with time and the ability, hopefully. That's the problem against Houston. You just don't have time. So whatever game plan Aaron Rodgers comes up with, because, yes, I'm saying Aaron Rodgers, a lot of that I thought in the fourth quarter was on him. he's going to have to come up with the best one he's ever come up with in his life playing against the Houston Texans front. I ain't even talking about the back end. The front alone, you better come up with the best game plan you ever came up with.
You're counting Will Anderson.
I mean, that's
Will
like,
Hunter.
I mean, he's making a lot of sense. I know he's talking and people get whatever, but yeah, like prior, Mina was talking about all pros. I mean, yeah, they could make the contracts go through the roof. Jermaine says, I joined your live late, but how much of a threat do you think Metcalf will have? I mean, I'm not like, I went through some of his stuff. Like he hasn't had that great of a year. I think he's just a linear vertical guy and a slant guy. He doesn't really have much to his bag besides that. Maybe he gets some 50-50 balls or burns you on a double move maybe, but I'm not overly scared of him, honestly. I think Sting and or Kamari could, keep him in check. So, and then let's see if there's anything good on here. Almost done here, fellas. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. And here's Dan talking about the Steelers matchup.
15 yards after the catch.
That ain't happening.
Will not work against this Houston defense.
No.
That's been the trademark of this Steelers offense this year, as kind of mundane as it's been or average as it's been. It's get the ball in playmakers' hands and let them have to be kind of special in space. And it won in many ways them the game last night. This defense in Houston does not give that up. And so not only Marcus, like,
we love that.
you got to block them. It's like then you got to get the ball out to people, and those people have to
Swagoo.
make the people that are really good at tackling be bad at
The
tackling.
other problem is this, though. They don't just tackle. Like, they try
hit
to
your
hurt
face.
you.
Yeah.
Like, the physicality,
They're
the
hunting.
pursuit to the ball, the way they corral is so different.
Yeah.
That's a
And by
good
the way,
stat
just
right
to
there.
clarify here, Mina,
Yeah.
you're going next, but we are not laughing at the Steelers. We are
It showed
laughing. That's
Texans are
just the
7th in
laugh
yak
of
allowed, and
Marcus
Steelers
loving
are
a
2nd in
defense
yak.
Yeah.
so
No
much,
one
and the
wants to
style
play
of
that
play
defense. Yeah.
that these
They're a
Texans.
throwback.
Yeah, they are, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Metcalf. I'm not trying to like be cocky and say stuff and then feel dumb if it doesn't go that way. But I would be surprised if he had a big day. But who knows? It's playoffs, man. And we never know with the Texans. We're still not fully over the hump. So, but yeah, we're kind of. This was funny, dude. Stephon Diggs in New England with Vrabel.
I can throw some blocks. Ready to block.
Hey, how do we go 250 yards in 3 quarters? He ain't blocked one time.
Hey, but I was willing. I was willing. Hey, Coach, you heard him. I ain't trying to be on that tape. See this? This is not what we do. We finish over here.
Vrabel will call you out, bro. He don't care. And here's Tony Dungy on the Texans.
You guys mentioned it about the Chargers' offensive line.
He talks.
They've got the football.
Here we go.
Get out of it with a low-scoring win. And I love the Houston defense. I think that Houston defense can carry them to a Super Bowl this year in these playoffs.
We love it, Coach.
He's got us as the number
And
one
I
team. Let's
know-
go in the AFC. Kay Adams gave us some love. Oh, this shit was hilarious. So there's this guy that sells oysters. I found him on Instagram. I need to check it out. But these videos are from like 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. Like, and I montage them. But Trent Brown eating these oysters is fucking hilarious. Like, it's just not like, I mean, he's just awesome, dude. He's just like an innocent big kid.
Talk to him, man. You know when the fucking Texans get that dub, you know where they got to come eat at, man.
Them bitches so goddamn good.
Huh?
Them bitches are good as a motherfucker.
All right.
Showing up, best oysters I ever had in my life.
All right, nigga.
Don't be.
All right.
That's
Man,
so
you know,
awesome.
every time I'm in H-Town,
Hey, you're out
man,
there,
look,
Street.
we just got that big old whoop up on Patrick Mahomes, the man. You heard me? I don't know what we're going to do Sunday, but it's coming through, man. Huh? That's going to fuel me right there for Sunday, dog, right here. All right. Dog, oyster.
Titus. Fork is so small in his hand, dude.
Right now.
I thought that was funny. Yeah, Danielle Hunter, 4th career season with more than 14 sacks, tied for 2nd most in the NFL since 1982. That's crazy. And then we had, let's see.
Maybe the Aaron's best game in his
Orlovsky.
life too. We gave
with any offense. Houston's for Pittsburgh versus Houston's defense is rinse and repeat versus with any offense. Houston's defense is ridiculous. We had to do we got to do the voting for the NFL awards and first and second team all pros. I struggled to not put 6 or 7 guys on their defense on the first 2 teams. That's that good. And so one of the things that Pittsburgh has thrived on offensively this year is yards after the catch, because they get the ball out so quickly. Aaron knows exactly what you're in. He's going to get the ball out to playmakers in space and yards after the catch. It's one of the best defenses in football in everything, but certainly defending yards after the catch. It's one of the best tackling defenses in football. And so that's the big challenge, is the thing that Pittsburgh loves to do, and it's really kind of kept them afloat this year offensively, is the thing that Houston
Marquez, Valdez, Scantling
dominates with. They just thrive in it. And so this is not going to be an overly complicated thing for Aaron. He's going to know, obviously,
Ravens
Aaron, he
defense
knows
is
who
so
most
ass,
people
dude.
are in
We
defensively.
put up 40
but he
plus
will know
points on that
exactly what
defense.
Houston's in. They're not, schematically incredibly creative, especially on first and second down. They're going to play 4-man front. They're going to play in quarters. The thing is, it happens so fast, and they got people who can cover. Both Stingley and Lassiter can check DK. I'm sure it's going to be a great battle, but DK's not going to dominate that battle. Petrie's as good as a nickel as there is in football. I think the one thing that if you watch teams have some success against Houston defensively this year, you have to take shots down the field. You're not going to hit a ton. You have to. And it's just not something that Pittsburgh does. So
It's true.
I think it's
Him
a
and
pretty
Mina are spot
significant
on.
challenge.
Yeah, so that's him and Mina both saying they voted for a lot of all pros for us. Yes, Aaron does have an injury to his left hand and re-injured it. Lecter Hawan says, don't know if you talked about it, but the field at Acrisure Field is hard to kick. Maybe weather is a factor on Monday. I'm a Steelers fan, dude, but yeah, I love your content. Oh man, appreciate that. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Like, obviously, I feel confident in the Texans and kind of talking myself more into it, but trying to not be a douche about it. But yeah, I mean, I should have talked about that. Obviously, Kaimi last year struggled in the playoffs against KC, but he did good this year. Similar conditions, environment, but it does look like y'all's turf. Like you can slip on. You saw some slippage, so the cleats will probably be different. Looks like obviously you saw a couple missed kicks late, extra point and a kick. So not sure if there's wind down there, if it swirls, but any more insight on that would be cool. And just your general thoughts as we wind up. Let me know if you got any more questions about it. I always love to have the opposing fans in here. So I think Mike Tomlin's an awesome coach. His interview, I watched it today. He started out for just 10 minutes just talking and hit like every question you wanted to ask him. All these details about the game, about the Texans game. Dude, his press conference was legit. Rodgers' press conference was legit. JJ says you got to get some of these Chris Sims clips. He's a massive Texans glazer in his latest playoff predictions videos. There's some good stuff. Yes. Okay. I just haven't, for some reason, hasn't really come to my deal, but I will definitely clip those and post them. Cal and Hannah McNair were on Sports Radio 610 with Sean and Seth. And here is what Cal said. He said to D'Amico after the 0-3 start.
So you knew it was there. You just couldn't believe you were 0-3.
Yeah. I told Coach, this may be the best thing to happen to you. He said, what? I said, yeah, if you were 3-0, you'd think you're a really great team and really cooking, and you got a lot to work on this team. And he goes, yeah, we got a lot to work on. And yet you're one play away. You're a fumble going in to score. You're a missed tackle to win the game. And you get those, and now you get to really roll your sleeves up, test the mettle of your team, and you got to be better and really get this thing turned around. So
yeah, that's one thing I'm always curious about.
Great
with owners.
point by Cal, because if you're 3-0 and you still have things to clean up, you can't get the message across. But now that it's dire, they take it, and it's been like that since the jump. And so, like, just simply like thinking, like, would you rather lose your 3 games like that early in the year or later in the year? Like, we already got it out of the way, so you're hoping that it's been corrected. Very astute by Mr. Cal right there. And then here is D'Amico when talking about the Tommy Togiai TD. I thought this was some cool nuggets here.
Man, my mind is always racing throughout the week. And, Coach Popovich comes and was like, man, can we use Tommy on a short yardage? I'm like, of course. That's the guy. He's very dependable. Yeah. He's going to do what we ask him to do. Of course, let's use Tommy. And let's make sure he gets one to carry as well. So we had him a couple plays where we had him blocking, on the goal line. And But when Daniil got the strip sack, Henry scooped up the fumble, and we're there close to the 1 or 2 yard line. I don't even remember. I just started telling Kay, hey, put Tommy in. Let's make sure we gets Tommy a touchdown, because I told the guys on Friday practice, after Friday's practice, when we ran those plays, and I told the entire team after I brought them up, I was like, man, look, I know guys get excited for touchdowns, but when Tommy gets his touchdown, our whole team is going to be fired up, and I want everybody throwing up the celebration. And so I thought it would happen a little earlier on the fullback dive play. It didn't happen then, so it's very fitting that at the end of the game, the last play, Tommy gets it, and that's why our sideline they erupted. Everybody, I mean, we got coaches, trainers, I see everybody running down there. Were you down there? I saw you down there.
I would have, but
no, it was such a cool moment. I just want a big picture of. I want that framed of that last play of our regular season, whatever the excitement and joy on everyone's face.
That's great.
That's crazy. So obviously the big thing for me is Cole Popovich, one, is the one who asked to have him come over on offense. And then two, D'Amico is like, hey, put him in after the big play, because that strip sack fumble, or not strip sack, but it was a fumble that was off a sack. I don't know what it was, but Tommy caused that by pressing the pocket, and then Daniil, forced it, I believe, and then Henry T picked it up. So like, hey, reward the big man. And then the fact that like they talked about it and like talking about celebrating, and like that, also the reaction, like that speaks volumes about Tommy Togiai and what his teammates think of him. So, but yeah, so Darius Butler, does like basically his all pro team. He put Stingley in the secondary as a corner. And then he also put, he said he put Kamari as number 2. And then he said he put Kalen Bullock as the best free safety in the league. Just going back through, we got another Cal clip. This is something I preach about, having a hands-off owner, and here's Cal kind of reinforcing my belief on that.
His football IQ is like, I'm putting my hand way over my head
Yeah,
here.
for those who can't see,
and
Cal's hand is
mine I think is pretty high, but it's like
talking about D'Amico.
half of his. So me trying to tell him or Nick football things is not the right. That is not my place.
Do you ever
It's
have
not my
a
place.
moment in your head where you're like, you know what? I feel like they should run more 11 personnel, and then you're like, nah, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
I'm like, every time you run heavy, we run the ball. so quit doing that.
57 is
so I mean, but like the fact that he can say like, yeah, D'Amico knows way more than me. Like I can't tell him anything, him or Nick. Like, yes, you hired so it's all about making the right hire. Like you made the right hire in Nick Caserio and D'Amico, and now let them do their job. So great to hear. But yeah, if you like film breakdown, got a film I started breaking down. I'll continue to do it throughout the week. There might be a couple more clips up here a little ways. Let's see what we got. Nick Wright has the Texans losing. Go figure. Nick wrong. Kaimi got AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Last week was Tommy. The week prior was Derek Stingley for defense. Texans lost the total points thing to Seahawks, whatever. And I think that's it, fellas. I don't know if there's any good clips right there. Yeah, we'll get the Mike Tomlin stuff. This is actually really good. And these are long, so I'll actually use the restroom while I play these last two, and then we'll call it wraps.
First on offense, I think the strength of the pack is the pack. I think they've displayed that in a lot of ways over the course of the journey. Certainly, they went through an adjustment at the early stages of the season playing without Joe Mixon, but they've certainly found a nice division of labor in Woody Marks and Mr. Chubb. Those guys have done an awesome job in terms of dividing the labor up and running the ball for those guys. As I mentioned, their ball security is top tier. Neither one of those guys or no one in their backfield has put the ball on the ground this season. They got some quality young eligibles in Higgins and Noel from Iowa State. They've done a nice job of growing and evolving over the course of the season. There's certainly assets to their passing game and good supplements to Nico Collins. Collins is a big-time one-on-one playmaker. He's oftentimes on the backside of formations. You get in single high defensive structure. He's in one-on-ones with corners, and he wins a lot of them. He makes the big boy catches. He can run through traffic and run the in-breaking routes. He's good down the field on 50-50 balls. He certainly has our attention as we prepare. I think they've also displayed stability and depth at the quarterback position. Got a lot of respect for C.J. Stroud and his body of work and what he's been able to do in this league over a short period of time. But I'm also very respectful of the veteran presence that Davis Mills provides. I think he went 3-0 this year as a starter. He threw 5 touchdowns and 1 interception over the course of that span. And I just think that when you're able to absorb the negativity of playing without your quarterback and maintain your offensive rhythm and take care of the football, I just think that's an asset to a collective. And to be quite honest with you, I think that 3-game stretch that he had was really the catalyst for this 9-game stretch that they're on. And when they got CJ back, they've just taken off from there. And so we certainly have some challenges in that phase. They do a nice job strategically, particularly in situations of attacking tendencies. We got to be thoughtful about repetitive calls and situational calls. They do a really good job of strategy in those kind of moments. On the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a lot right there. I agree with a lot of that. Like I mentioned, y'all heard it also. And then here's him on our defense. Like, this is him involuntarily starting his presser the other day.
On the defensive side of the ball, they just got a kick butt unit. They do. They got a top flight edge tandem in Hunter and Anderson. They got a top flight corner tandem on the outside. And so they rush very well. They cover very well. They're not trying to split the atom schematically. They don't have to when you have corners and edge rushers like that. I'll start first with the edge rushers. Will Anderson and Hunter are simply the most dynamic edge rush tandem in the National Football League in 2025. They got 27 sacks between them. I think it's 12 for Anderson, 15 for Hunter. They're a formidable group. You can talk about the things that you need to do schematically to minimize them and all of that. It's nothing that they haven't seen. We better stay out of a bunch of one-dimensional passing circumstances, because if we're in those circumstances, we're going to be in trouble. And that's just the reality of it. They do a good job of being aggressive and combative in coverage. They got a really good secondary. Petrie, their safety / nickel, is very versatile, and he displays that versatility on the back end and in safety circumstances, and also in his ability to cover and blitz as a nickel. They got a real good linebacker tandem, man, that's highly active and productive. They minimize big plays. I was just looking at their statistical profile. They're top 5 in most statistical categories. Points, I think they're number 1 in yards per game. They're in the top 5 in rush defense and pass defense, scoring, yards. And so certainly they've been top tier and elite in just about all areas all year with that group. That group sets the pace for them. They play with great energy and emotion. They play well as a collective. They have an appetite for rising up.
This dude's like me. He just talk. This is crazy.
Up in moments. It just seems like every week you're seeing game-changing and game-deciding plays from their defense in terms of closing close ball games out. They make the necessary plays in weighty moments, really in all 3 phases. I think about a 3rd and 14, I think, versus Jacksonville, where Davis Mills scrambles into the corner of the end zone to give them a late win at home versus those guys, for example. But you don't get in this tournament unless you had your moments. You certainly don't win 9 straight unless you have continuity and complementary play. They're good in all 3 phases. I think about D'Amico Ryans when I watched their tape and how he played the game, and I tip of the cap to him. I think the Houston Texans play collectively the way that he did. They're tough and smart. They play to win. They play with emotion, as I mentioned. And so, man, really excited.
That's crazy. Yeah, and JJ said it's the Tomlin start to talk that so much that he doesn't answer questions. But no, dude, like, he went on to talk for another 20 minutes and take questions. Like 30, it was like, this is a long, like, dude, he was way too long of a presser. I was like, you gotta go coach, bro. Like, it was crazy. I was like, I liked it as like a fan. Yeah, and here's film watchers breaking
And
down
what
the
I
play.
mean is when the coaching staff is watching, it makes the Texans one of the most dangerous teams in the playoffs this year. And what I mean is when the coaching staff is watching film, they saw this play from week 16 when the Cowboys came out against the Chargers with this bunch look on a 3rd and short. And what you notice from the Chargers is they have this quarters shell. So essentially that just means each DB is taking a deep quarter of the field. But you notice on the snap that this field side safety, he triggers downhill a little bit hard. You notice that field corner, he breaks down on this quick out. Even though they're the deep quarters, they are playing this very aggressively underneath because on a 3rd and 1, they don't want to give up the easy first down. They don't want to make it easy for the quarterback to just check it down right to this quick out. So they make sure to prioritize that and be more aggressive. So much so that you see this deep corner, he ends up coming open. Now, Dak doesn't find him. He ends up throwing it to the quick out, but that is exactly what the Texans saw on film. And you know that's what they saw on film because on the first 3rd and short of the game against the Chargers, they call that exact same bunch look. So, of course, the Chargers respond with that exact same quarters defense. So now the Texans are going to perfectly attack that defense after they motion Christian Kirk across by occupying every single deep quarter. So Nico Collins, he runs across her. That's going to occupy this deep inside quarter because, once again, they're more aggressive on those underneath routes. And then the other inside quarter, he's going to crash down on Dalton Schultz running the shallow cross. Same reason there. And then the deep outside quarter, he's going to crash down on Christian Kirk on the quick slant. So all of a sudden, there's no deep quarters, which is why Jaden Higgins is running this deep post because it attacks the outside shade leverage of this deep outside quarter. And at the top of that route, you notice that the deep outside quarter kind of pauses. He's expecting more of those underneath routes. They're so aggressive that that post gets wide open down the field. First drive of the game, they come out with a 75-yard touchdown, just a perfect play call. And if that Texans offense is operating like that in the playoffs, they are going to be unbeatable with that defense. So make sure you watch the Texans take on the Steelers on Monday Night Football.
Guys, awesome film watchers, Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, so JJ and Colby were talking about, Will and Daniil getting home. Yeah, so I mean, this is like most other games, but like if the Texans can get out to a couple scored lead and now they're forced, because Tomlin basically was saying like they can't get into known passing downs, which is 3rd and long. But then now if you get more of those, and then also you get behind and pretty much every down's a known passing down, like it could snowball. And of course that's for every game, but even more so with Rodgers he has to throw the ball quick. Otherwise they're going to be dinking and dunking and it'll just be, it'll be feeble. And then, y'all's point too about it being a physical game. That reminded me of my point is the Ravens-Steelers game Sunday night was a very physical game. And, we rested our starters, a couple of them, Nico and Kamari, before the game, and then most of them played half or less than half the game on top of that. So that's definitely a thing that bodes well for us being more fresh going into the game. So, but yeah, so that's all I got. Yeah, we made it to the end, fellas. But yeah, I might have a couple interviews lined up for later in the week. So just be ready for a random show if so. Until then, if I don't have those, hopefully I'm in Pittsburgh rooting us on, but I appreciate all you guys tuning in. And I'm confident in the game. I'm eager. I'm anxious. Should be a good game. I still respect the opponent. I still think it could be a close, tight one, but hopefully it's not. But yeah, until next time, we blessin'. And I can't find the end stream button. Peace.